slipper day. Let's see what's happening with the betting. Proverb is the favourite. He is $3.70 now, just into $3.60 on course. So there is a little bit of money. In fact, as I was looking at the camera, $3.50 for Proverb, $3.70 to $3.50, $5.50 to $5 for Philippi. Hippopus.
Days racing, the Emirates Park Tulloch Stakes, $3.70 into $2.60. They bet $4.60 on Wednesday. Hughie.
But slightly, Airstriker began reasonably well, but is now easing back with Gerontius towards the tail. Indianapolis and Knockabout settle in front. They lead from Hippopus. Perfect Weapon now picking up ground, followed by Sir Denzel. Proverb in the first 5 or 6 early. Laser Flash out a little bit go, and Knockabout in front, led by a long neck on Indianapolis on the outside. Laser Flash still sitting deep. And then came Hippopus, followed further back by Perfect Weapon. Sir Denzel is next. And then a length over on the inside. Solemn Proverbs in the centre. Rowie's had a wide run, followed by Twisted Emotions. High Shot behind them. Philippi's about 8 off the lead. He's in the centre of horses at the moment. And then came King of Olympia, followed by Airstriker, Gerontius. Last is Dealer Dilo. They're preparing to turn. Knockabout on the inside in front. Indianapolis second. Laser Flash striding up to join them. Further back we had Sir Denzel. Perfect Weapon. Proverb trying to push out into the clear. Rowie's in front of it. And Philippi's made a quick move down the outside. Laser Flash took the lead. Philippi and Rowie are coming on the scene. Hippopus back to the inside and then Senderdell. It's Philippi the leader with about 100 to go. He shot away out very wide on the track. He's 2 lengths in front of Sir Denzel. Hippopus on the inside, but Philippi's too good. Philippi raced away and beat Hippopus and Sir Denzel. Then Laser Flash, led by Gerontius. Further back was Province.
Mick Kent brings Philippi to Sydney, takes out the Emirates Park Tulloch Stakes for the 3-year-olds. Derby bound, you would expect this son of Hope Jamison in the winner's yard because he's very, very nervous, I think, heading.
Right by Nova, but well, there was talk of this horse had been sold to Hong Kong, didn't eventuate, and Mick Kent's said a fine training performance here. Can he produce one too? Rick Jamison's Archer colours there. The
saddle cloth and on Luke Nolan's skull cap as well. But the runners here, the 3-year-old fillies for the Group 1, the Vinery Star, the favourite Norzita. She was the top filly in Sydney last spring. She won the Flight Stakes and, of course, she was so close in the Coolmore Classic against the older mares. She's currently...
Rayfontaine jumped okay. Hoybell and Dear Demi both came out at the rear and they'll come across behind the field and get in a little bit closer. Cameo led from Longport and Alzora just after the start. Rayfontaine's out pretty wide with She's a Girl. A BB is showing a bit of early speed. Will settle down just on the back of the leaders, followed by Campagna and then Norzita, who's now starting to find a spot about 2 or 3 off the rail, followed by Purple Muse on the inside and Gondokoro. And then further back, Hoybell, Summer Bliss and Dear Demi out the back last of all. You're So Good, Purple Muse, Hoybell. And then further back, we had Summer Bliss and Dear Demi still at the back of the field. She's a Girl's run them along, led by 2 on Longport and Cameo. Then Elzora. Norzita's got off the fence now. He's trying to get into the bit of ground out wide. On the outside of it, Drayfontaine. Gondokoro saving ground. Summer Bliss got pushed right off the track as they fanned on the home turn into the straight. Longport the leader. Norzita's coming after it. He's got a lap full of horse at the moment. It's starting to stretch the neck and go out after Longport. And Norzita on the outside and Longport on the inside. They've hit the lead together. About 3 lengths on Habibi. Norzita on the outside has put her head in front, but Longport won't go away. Norzita's just in front. She's about a neck clear of Longport and Norzita. Norzita goes on to win another one. Beat Longport and Habibi. Then a photo for 4th, Dear Demi and Gondokoro, followed by Drayfontaine and then Summer Bliss Campagna. At last in Hoybell.
They put out some good jewels in the spring. They're back at it in the autumn. But Norzita again prevailing over Longport. She takes out the Vinery Stud Stakes for Bart Cummings and Hugh Bowman. 3 beats number 5, Longport. She was gallant in defeat. Really expensive for Thorn Park in those days. But she's been the dominant filly of a generation.
Well, Norzita, the Thorn Park filly, tough. Look, well, she was going to win that race a little bit easier than what the margin eventually was. But credit to Longport there. Ran well. There, Mark, and job done.
Haven't they had some great battles, these two? We saw them dead heat one day at Randwick, and then there was a protest in favour of Longport, and then in the flight, Norzita beat Longport, but she was again gallant in defeat there, Longport. She stuck with Norzita, but they beat the rest out of sight. So they just
Longport knows Norzita, and that's why
she is a good filly. That was her second Group 1 victory. She won the Flight Stakes back in the spring. So I suppose, Hugh, she was the real class runner in the race.
I thought so. I thought she was her best ride going into yesterday, just because I thought she was so well in with the race conditions and the gates. You looked like you were going to end up one off the fence, which is probably where you wanted to be. You ended up on the fence what crossed your mind? Did you want to get involved in a fight, or were you just happy to let them take you over to the fence?
Oh,
Well,
I didn't want to be too far back, and I found myself sort of worse in midfield, and then the opportunity presented to sort of get to that midfield position. I thought I'd rather be there on the fence than back and not on the fence. So I took that up. She got into a good rhythm then, and as the rate, good horses make their own luck, and she race for her. Is it the Doncaster?
Class Filly taking out the first of the Group 1s of the afternoon. The second is about to be run. This is the BMW over 2,400 metres for the Wait for Age Stars. And as far as the betting is concerned, 5.5 star is the favourite, the 3-year-old. He is the Victoria Derby winner of last season, but he's just drifting on course. He opened at $3.30 out to $4.20. He's now at $4.40. Money coming for Hathras, $6.50 into $6. Second favourite.
The 3-year-old Huey Bowman looking to go bang bang and win the first 2 Group 1s on to his new Golden Slipper Day. Number 12, 5.5 star Caroline, 460 to 4 is the favourite for the BMW.
5.5 star now. Often racing. 5.5 star jump well. My Lucky Day very sluggish out of the stalls. He's had to ride him hard to try and pick up ground. Kaczynski's gone right back to the tail. 5.5 star led from Wingo, and then Sangster Hathras is out very wide on the track. Kalini over to the inside as they settle down, as they come down towards the judge. And then Fort Teller and Loire, followed by Naiwat and Silent Achiever. She's left out 3 wide going out of the straight the first time, followed by My Lucky Day, who's now picked up ground along the fence to go past a couple of runners, Kaczynski and Gatewood at the back of the field. So the only 3-year-old in the race, 5.5 star, took up the running, led by a length and a half. Hathras and Marwingo, and the Uffle back out deep on the track there. Slowed further back by Gatewood as they slowed up in front, and then Silent Achiever and Kaczynski back last of all. Coming up to the 1,000, and Bowman starting to stack them right up here on 5.5 star, led by a length and a quarter on Hathras and Marwingo, who's third on the inside, a length and a half, Sangster and Loire. Then Kalini has got pushed out a little bit wide. He's about to take off on Kalini, and then further back behind him, Naiwat is trying to track him forward. Forteller going through in the middle. Then My Lucky Day on the inside, followed further back by Gatewood and Kaczynski, and Silent Achiever last. Kalini whipped up on the outside and is now attacking for the lead. It's 5.5 star on the inside, just in front from Kalini. Then Hathras back in third spot. Mawingo the inside, and then came Sangster running fifth. Couple of lengths to Forteller and Naiwat into the straight. Kalini on the outside and 5.5 star, but Bowman had a little bit up the sleeve on 5.5 star. It regained the lead from Kalini, and they're settling down to fight it out there toe to toe. Sangster back in third spot. 5.5 star is just in front. Kalini trying to get to him. Silent Achiever gets up on the inside. 5.5 star is just in front. Clinging on Silent Achiever. Lunds didn't get there. 5.5 star, but Silent Achiever. Sangster got third, and then My Lucky Day, Kalini and Forteller followed further back in behind them, next by Hathras and Marwingo, and then Loire, Kaczynski, Naiwat, and last in was Gatewood.
The 3-year-old 5.5 star for Anthony Cummings takes out the BMW, a Group 1 winning double for Huey Bowman after taking out the Vinery. He's riding for dear life. What a good 3-year-old this horse is. He's beaten a very good mare in Silent Achiever and another Derby winner in Sangster. So 3 Derby winners, first, second and third here in the BMW of 2013.
Judged it right, got the speed right, found the fast lane, and the horse did the rest. I mean, great result. As you say, great effort family.
Could you change your riders this week?
To Julia, Bill Ritchie Stakes named after Julia's father, and unfortunately they lost Hotel Grand. I know she still had ownership of or part shares in up there in Queensland, but she's done a wonderful job. Here he is coming back
quite as quickly as Nash was, but he did pull the pressure on. But look, this horse, he's not a sit and sprint type. I was held on to him, let him get through his gears, and you saw him fight when Silent Achiever came up his inside. It's a great feeling, and it's a privilege.
Go around again, wouldn't it?
Star.
Well, look, a meeting of the Derby winning society there. 5.5 star, first Victoria Derby winner to come back and win the BMWs. A terrific performance by the 3-year-old by Hotel Grand, beating the Derby winner Silent Achiever, and another big Derby winner in Sangster. Anthony Cummings joins us. Another great job for you. Another Group 1 for this horse. Limited background, $20,000, Hotel Grand, and here he is at the top of the tree in Australia and Wait for Age Racing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I suppose with all sorts of comments, before the race about the lack of depth to it, but when you put it that way, first 3 over the line, all Derby winners, they are the best mile and a half horses in Australasia.
Yeah, and well, but they're not
I think that'll continue. I think that's Hal's 7th Group 1 win with the stable.
Yeah.
So it's he's had a fair bit of luck along the way.
And this horse being by Hudson Grounds, does it make it any more special?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I bought Hudson Grand's mum for 30 odd grand at the Easter Sales, God knows how many years ago. And Hal finished up. I reckon I gave one of the best spiels I've ever given to a bloke at a rugby lunch, and the bloke said, "No, thanks, but I'm not going to do that." And then when he walked away, Hal was standing behind him and said, "But I will." Yeah, so it was.
And It's a Done Deal is the favourite here. $1.75 for It's a Done Deal, 4.25.5 stars, $7 Philippi. It was good yesterday. Thus done, the Galligators.
And the VRC Derby, of course, back in the spring. It's shaping up to be a great ATC Derby as well. Hugh, 5.5 star. He'd had a string of minor placings there. He'd run second in some very good races. Good to see him break through for another big win.
Yeah, the horse thoroughly deserved it, and I suppose I got put on him in the right race, but he gave me a lot of confidence, the horse, during the week in the couple of gallops that I rode him in. He covers the ground particularly well. He's got the beautiful action on him and can bowl along throughout his race. So he's trained at Randwick.
It was. And then at the 100-metre mark, he changed stride, which, at top speed is hard for horses to do and maintain their momentum. And he's so balanced like that.
He is very balanced, and it's hard to tell on the film, but what I loved about it, Silent Achiever came at me quickly inside the last 50. And when he felt her presence, he found again, and he was already at his top. So that also gives me confidence. He's a horse.
It was desperately unlucky. I don't think he's going to the Sydney Cup. And there was a couple of other very good runs in the race. Malaki Day just wasn't run to suit. And another one, too far back.
He got a spray.
Yeah, did he?
Oh,
yeah, okay. And Loire.
Group 1 here, the Queen of the Turf Stakes. Well, More Joyous has dominated this race the last 2 years. Looks set to dominate again here today. If the betting is any indication, she is at $1.60. She's come in from $1.70. She's an absolute champion mare. More Joyous going for 3 in a row. She's won the 8 Group 1s, and she's just a super. The autumn in Sydney, as I said, the 8-time Group 1 winner by More Than Ready out of an Oaks winner in Sunday Joy.
Most definitely. There's no doubt about that, More Joyce. She's a superstar.
Pierre Tart didn't jump all that well. It seemed to knuckle slightly, and it's come out about third last. More Joyce and Cathay Lady were the best two into stride. Cathay Lady will go to the lead from Spirit Song, Nash easing back on More Joyce. Streamer rolling forward to settle down a little bit handier today. And then Secret Admirer, Pierre Tart had to use up a little bit of gas to come up along the fence into fifth spot. And then Appearance followed by Midsummer Music. There's only one. Red Tracer getting back into the field, look at the tail of the field. They're coming to the 600. Cathay Lady led from Spirit Song is being nigged along on the outside. More Joyous parked behind the leaders. Streamer on the outside. Pierre Tart back on the fence. Then Secret Admirer trying to push out inside Appearance as they come around the home turn. And Midsummer Music up to the outside. He's in awful trouble getting a run here on More Joyous. He's trying to bullock through, but there's absolutely no room. She got skittled, and Streamer joined by Appearance and went up to hit the lead on the outside. Red Tracer's getting through. Streamer's there, and Midsummer Music. It's Appearance in front from Red Tracer, who's coming at it to the inside. It's Appearance and Red Tracer, but Appearance, she is a giant killer and goes on to win it from Red Tracer and Streamer and Secret Admirer. Then More Joyous, who was luckless, followed by Cathay Lady. Then came in behind them next. There's only one. Midsummer Music, Spirit Song, Shannara, and Pierre Tart finished tailed off.
Mark Sheen summing it up. She is a giant killer. That's her third Group 1 appearance. She's an absolute superstar, an underrated mare. And what about Red Tracer in second placing as well? She's as gallant as they come. And 5 Streamer. Well, let's have a look at this replay, because I tell you what, Nash Rawiller, I think everyone's hearts were in there. And Secret Admirer, just waiting for Guy Water to come through and hear from one of Racing's, as Richie said, one of Racing's gentlemen. Guy Water, I think.
The performance of Appearance winning the Myer Classic, the Coolmore and the Queen of the Turf. I'm not sure if that's been done before. That's the big 3 for the girls. Obviously, the talking point is, Mark, you look the head on here. It's always going to be tight there for Nash on More Joyous.
Yeah, just calling the race, looking at him going for that run. I thought, it might open up, but then he got his head through it, and then next minute it was gone. So, but Huey Bowman got up outside him just after the start. He was trying to push him back in all the way, and it was the undoing of More Joyous. Streaming just posied up outside it, was holding it in there, and that was the difference.
When they straightened up, Nash was adamant he wanted to go out. With the others looking for the better ground, perhaps the better option would have been looking to go in, because then he let Red Tracer up on his inside.
Where could he go? I don't know where he
back.
when Red Tracy gets up on his inside, that's when Nash has then got to commit to the outside.
That's right. But I
And-
don't think he wanted to stay on the fence.
No, he didn't want to go anywhere near that, and Red Tracy got through and ran second in that gap, but she should have won.
I think she's been good prices in all of these wins too. She's now won the Maya Classic, Coolmore Classic, and now the Queen of the Turf. So she deserves full credit.
She sure does. She is a terrific little mare. That's a very hard treble to produce. And I don't think it's ever been done before. Because the Maya hasn't been around that long.
Jesus, it's the biggest three fillies and mares races of the year.
I know. It's
Season. He's
it's
won them all.
fantastic effort. And we shouldn't, we all looked at More Joyce, and yes, she should have finished closer and maybe she could have won, but that's racing and appearance, she made her own luck and got herself into the race and had the courage and the heart to get on with the job. I think this race more than any of them showed that wet track horses that handle a wet track had a bit of an advantage yesterday. Wasn't overly so, but in this race, two confirmed wet track handlers ran 1-2, and I think they're getting out into the middle of the track here. And this was about the middle of the day, so. Although the track was wet, it did play fairly, but she's a terrific mare, and I agree with everything Guy said about her.
Horses did run true to form yesterday. Look, I got to give Corey Brown a rap. These have been two of the best beaten rides on this mare of his, Red Tracer, I've ever seen, and the Coolmore in there again yesterday. So look, he was unlucky that he got beat because the rides deserved a better fate.
Take off for the start of the Tui's New Golden Slipper for 2013. The favourite is Overreach. Gay Waterhouse with 3 runners aiming for her 5th Golden Slipper. Overreach, the favourite on course at this stage, the filly to beat, of course. But I've seen a few horses just struggling with this ground here this afternoon. So Overreach 310 into 270. The punters don't seem to think she's going to have any problem whatsoever with this surface because she's still getting supported here on course. $10 Sweet Idea, her stablemate who won the Silver Slipper.
$1 in the favourite. Number 11, Overreach.
Criterion came out a length behind them. Carroccio flew out of the stall, so did Overreach. Sweet Idea began well, and then Romantic Moon, who hopped out nicely. Whittington going up on the outside. Dothraki pushing through about one off the rail. It's racing up into second or third spot, followed by Sidestep, and then came I'm All the Talk. Varpensiero was next, followed by Windjammer. Wealth was next. Criterion a long way back, being passed by Villaverde, and then came at the head of the others next. Rude Awakening. Well, it's got a long way back. It's about third last as they settle down from Charlie Boy, and Fast and Rocking is last. Carroccio just led. Sweet Idea raced up on the outside to Ball it as they make the home turn. Overreach parked behind them over on the fence, and then came I'm All the Talk. Whittington's out a little bit wide. Dothraki in the centre, and further back was Sidestep. Carroccio led. He stuck to the fence and Overreach. Sweet Idea out in the centre of the track as they run down to the 300 now. And Overreach turned it on, raced away, sprinted to the front, and she shot well clear. Sweet Idea. He's got out to the centre of the track and Overreach, but she is well clear. Sidestep is running on from Sweet Idea, but Overreach a class above them, and Overreach wins the slipper, goes on to beat Sidestep and Sweet Idea. Then Guelph and Fast and Rocking, followed further back by Criterion and Villaverde. Then Windjammer Varpensiero, followed by Romantic Moon. Then I'm All the Talk at the head of the others next, Charlie Boy, followed by Carroccio, Rude Awakening, and last in was Dothraki.
She mightn't be as big as the boys, but she is all class. Overreach, the winner of the Tui's New Golden Slipper 2013. She is a superstar filly. She has absolutely dominated, beating home Sidestep and Sweet Idea. Congratulations to everyone involved in this bonny filly.
Count them, and you knew it was going to happen, didn't you? You knew it was going to happen.
Superiority. She flew the gates. He flew the gates and was a cucumber. Just sit there and let them shoot past him a bit. We talked about the track long and hard before the race, and he said, if I put her right up on the fence, he said, I think I've got a really good chance of getting the better ground. And then it was all over Rover, wasn't it? And the third filly, Sweet Idea.
Yes, I'm sure you're proud too of Tommy Field Cup, but what's it mean for Nathan and you to share this moment?
Well, I tear up straight away when you talk about Nathan, because he's the biggest part of my career, and to have my family here today. So, and Gay and Miss Down morning have supported me so much.
Well, you've got a great mentor in Gay, haven't you? I mean, she's more than just a boss to you. I'm sure she's like a mother figure and teaches so much about life as well.
She's, she puts a lot of trust in me, and so do the owners. And, I'm so lucky to be in this position. And one person I don't get to thank too often, and that's my manager, Jeff Ryan. he does such a great stick to the fence and come out after the straight. And she said, "You do what you want as long as you win."
You almost had time to pose for the photo out there, Tommy.
I never post after the winning post. Mr. Murray, he's taught me that.
Well, to sit back, when can you actually savour this victory? I know we're going to talk to your family.
Alan said so. I was very happy.
Next time you're that confident, just walk past him.
Kelly, what's the word?
When you get together.
With yesterday on radio, you were talking and said, "Well, look, I'll burn out for about 100, see what they want to do, come across. I don't want to get in a speed battle." Worked out how you said.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the track was quite heavy coming out of the chute there, so I didn't want to do too much earlier to get my filly out of comfort zone. So she's got brilliant pace as it is, so I just let her get out and get rolling, and she took a nice hit. But Nathan and I, before the race, we went and walked the track, and it was quite interesting. Right on the fence, the track was quite fine, and then you get the 1, 2, 3 off. It was quite chopped up. So I got Mark Newton to see if Gag would come and have a talk to me before the race, and put it to her, and she just said, you know, you ride your own race and go out and win.
Just between being Tommy's got 6, and you reckon Gay's got the ammo and the time to equal Dad's brilliant record in this great race, the Golden Slipper. Nearly back late, 3:20, 3:30, back to 2:80 late, and big result here for Gay and for Darley. Darley had the sire of 1-2, and Darley runs 2nd and 4th, and Gay goes 1st and 3rd here. But let her drift out up the running here, and you watch that, just drifts out, but she's just way in front there.
Yeah, well, that was always the plan. As I said, I was always going to stick to the fence coming around the corner, and I think about 4 or 5 off was the best part of the track down the straight, but I think I got a little bit wider than that. But I just kind of let her roll out and do her own thing, because that's it. You know, she finds line better that way.
That was special. Even I had a tear in my eye. I went out there, and I think everyone did. Your mum was there crying. Your mum's brother was there. The old man was sitting alone, beer in one hand, feet up.
No, he's always been very quiet and in the background, Dad. But
Bit of buffeting didn't sort of help proceedings from sort of the half mile onwards. We had the winner to chase down, and she was just too good. So he's obviously a lovely horse going forward, and yeah, looking forward to seeing him as a 3-year-old. I was going to end up in the box seat going in the first corner, and Brownie got charging inside me and give mine a bump, and sort of unfortunately got me sort of over racing. I would have preferred to be a pair back, but in saying that, I always had the plan in my head. I had to be in front of the other filly to beat her, and she was just too brilliant for them.
Run really good. I think she's a filly looking for further now, maybe 7 furlongs. She just wants to settle early, but look, she's attacking along very aggressively, and she run fantastic.
It takes a while to... He's a proper horse, this fellow, but hustle bustle race, it's not his go. Not sure where they'll go next, but I'm presuming maybe the mile at Randwick, the Champagne, and he'll be very competitive if he goes there.
Had to go back a little bit. She's been the dominant 2-year-old over the last couple of weeks. Very well backed. Some huge bets with tab.com.au in the hours leading up to the Golden Slipper yesterday. Began beautifully, Ron, and just too classy.
Maybe the race was all over after about 2 strides when she flew the gates, took the sit straight away and relaxed beautifully. We know she's got that acceleration. She showed it again. She's just been the complete dominant filly all the way through. What about her sire there, Exceed and Excel? 1st, 2nd and 4th. Here's Tommy here. What a great feeling for him. Just hits the line here, and a little celebratory gesture there. 200, look, please. If I was Tommy Berry, I'd go and get $200 worth of 5-cent pieces and throw it to Racing New South Wales. Worried about make him pick them up off the floor. Worried about that. Well, show a little bit of leniency. That was hardly jumping up in the air. It was
Just to the Jockeys Fund. What does it matter? The winner gives 200 to the Jockeys Fund. So what?
Does it go to the Jockeys Fund?
I believe it does. You know, so it does to some.
In the slipper.
Sidestep got checked early, and McDonald got suspended over it. But I don't think he was unlucky. But I don't think there was any unlucky runners. The first 4 across the line there just dominated.
I think you're right about all of that. You know, the Tommy Berry.
Talking about the gold.
One more Group 1 to go. This is the George Ryder Stakes. Will Go Waterhouse win another Group 1 here with her champion colt in Piero. Of course, he was too good for More Joyous in the Canterbury Stakes, and she had no luck here, unfortunately, this afternoon. But she might get a winning Group 1 double here with Piero. He is $1.35 here on course. Next best here, Star Colt for Gay Waterhouse in the Greg and Donna Colavos colours. The red and blue with the lightning bodies. 110 out of 12. He was last year's 2-year-old Triple Crown winner, won the Golden Slipper on this day in 2012, and he's had 2 very good runs back, winning the Hobartville and the Canterbury Stakes.
And you're right, he is a superstar. There's no other word to describe him. Superstar Piero. Big money pre-post and early morning here today. Number 11, Piero. Nashville hoping to turn around what's been a forgettable day. Gay Waterhouse hoping to continue on after winning and running third in the Golden Slipper. Number 11, Caroline. The big boys are at play. Number 11, Pierre.
King Veyron came out a little bit slowly. Dan Lee hesitated just after the start and goes back to last. Reliable Man second last. Solzhenitsyn began well, and with Fontalina and Veyron, they show out early, and Piero is driving up behind them. He'll just ease now and settle just off the speed. King Mufasa at the rear. It's King Mufasa for Michael Rod, taking up the running and leads from Laser Hawk, who's striding across into second. Veyron next, followed by Solzhenitsyn, and then came Fontalina. Piero was next. Shootout on the outside of it, so Piero going up 3 wide now. Shootout looks to be even deeper. Followed further back in behind him. In fact, he's inside Piero, and then came further back Rebel Dane. Followed by Happy Trails and Managar, Reliable Man and Danley at the tail of the field. It's King Mufasa in front, led from in second spot Laser Hawk from Veyron Fontalina, and then came Solzhenitsyn. Piero's now making his move, coming up around the outside of Shootout, and then Rebel Dane, who's hugged the fence from Reliable Man. Happy Trails into the straight. King Mufasa led. He's being nursed along at the moment, led from Veyron. Piero starting to put in the big ones down the centre. Fontalina getting up on the inside. King Mufasa still in front. Now Piero Gunda starting to run on strongly down the outside. King Mufasa in front. Piero's lifting on the outside. He draws level, and Piero, slipper 1 year, right on the next. Goes on to win it from King Mufasa. Third, maybe Shootout, but there's a wall of horses there. Danley, the inside, Reliable Man and Managar. And then came Fontalina and Veyron as they killed.
Well, he's just too strong, isn't he, Piero? Another Group 1 for the Super 2-year-old colt. He's really gone on with the job here. Winning the same day he won the Golden Slipper last year. He's taken out the George Rider a year later. Look at those ears pinned back. He's so like his sire, Lonro. Gay Waterhouse, Nashville Willer, a Group 1 double.
Was caught in trotting terms. He was caught in the death, wasn't he? And I thought, oh my gosh, he couldn't be in a worse position. And it was a muddling run race. And then all of a sudden, Nash thought, well, I'm going nowhere. And he just dropped him back about half a length and gave him time to get a bit of a breather. But I must say, I very rarely get goosebumps watching races. I've watched a few and with top-class horses. But today I really got goosebumps. Today was something very special.
This horse really excites you, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a special horse. He's a sexy horse. He's the best.
He's sexy come Doncaster today?
Yes, well, you'll be having a bit of fun there, won't you?
Very, on you go. Just getting talking a bit dirty these days. Rich, who have you got?
Just crawling. He deserves a pat on the back. He's just crawled in a $1,000 suit on the grass.
Yeah, I wanted to ride him, obviously, to keep him happy. I don't think he really handled the slow ground. I know it's sort of hard to say, but it's quite concerned a few times in the run. He kept it in patches and dipping and diving. I suppose most of them are, but when you're riding sort of the horse is so balanced and beautiful to ride, they put a foot out of place and you feel it straight away. And look, there was probably a couple of concerns there at stages throughout the race, but I was very confident from where I was I could win.
His class got him this. Just a horse to do that in history. Piero, slipper 1 year, ride at the next. $1.35, no troubles for traffic there for Nash on Piero. Rode like the best horse in the race. And got the gun down, kept one winner. Great sectionals late for Piero, but stays unbeaten in Sydney. Rich Piero.
Yeah, and I think there's only I think he should have won the Caulfield Guineas. I think he really only lost one defeat, and that was probably the Cox Plate when he probably had enough. But I think we should have probably showed more Joyce's replay before this, and then everyone would have realised why Nash sat so wide. He didn't want traffic jams on Piero, Mark, but it was still a terrific effort. And I spoke to Nash, and he said, the furlong, he said, I was a little bit worried when the other one gave a great kick.
Look, it didn't look a flash win, but as Bruce alluded to the sectionals, they went very slow in front, and from where he was in the run, he had to produce something special sectional-wise to wear the leader down, and he did that. It was still a very good win.
11.58 the last
Doncaster.
I think the run of the race for me was Reliable Man.
Most definitely.
Horse who's going to be suited over further, and the way the tempo of the race was, it certainly didn't suit him.
Well, I imagine whether he'll...
Man or Joyce, she'll go down history as one of my best horses I've ever rode, but this bloke's something pretty special, isn't he?
He sure is. He's now had 10 starts in Sydney for 10 wins. He goes to the Doncaster Mile now, where they've got him an odds-on favourite.
Probably deservedly so. Although that was a bunch finish, I thought that was an outstanding performance. It was a slowly run race. They've come home as quick as anything all day. He's had work to do wide, no cover. And although not convincing in the finish, when you analyse everything, that was just a tip-top win, a win of a champion, which he probably is. King Mufasa really enjoyed taking control again yesterday. That's what he likes to do. That's when he's at his best, when he dominates, and he enjoyed that race. There was a couple of improved performances here. Managar was much better. this import reliable man, the other grey inside him, he's a real talent, this fella. He was first up in Australia here, and there's a race in him, if not the autumn. There will be in the spring, I can tell you that. He's loaded with talent, and I can see why you's excited about Shootout, because he was warming up there late. Look, Happy Trails was good. There was a few other good runs in that race as well. Hard to analyse.
Well, because of the sprint home, they all stay a lot closer to each other. It's hard to, they don't string out like they do if there's plenty of pace on. But yeah, all of the above. It was a great win there. Steve has emailed in and rightly pointed out that no one's done that since Manicato did that double, Golden Clipper George Ryder.
Okay.
So he's in pretty rarefied air, isn't he? It's the best horse in 50 years,
That's
probably.
right.
But look, he's an outstanding colt. Is All Too Hard as good as him? Better than him? I don't know.
Hopefully we find out.
I tell you what, it'll be hard to be better than him in Sydney. I reckon he's the best 3-year-old in Sydney, better than All Too Hard. But who knows? They haven't matched up.
Managar was El Cavallo at $2, average 16 into 15, and 200 to 1 Madam Fly, 300 to 1 Conchame. According to the boys up in the betting ring, Caroline, there's been equal money for both of them. Rock solid, both of them, El Cavallo and Safeguard. I thought there might just be one.
Set to go. He's off and racing. Diamond Oasis a little bit slowly out. Il Cavallo. I dwelt slightly from the inside. He's about a length and a half off the lead early, but trying to retain the inside running. Iconic and Divine Calling, fly followed by Diamond Oasis. Safeguard didn't show any early speed. He went right back in the field. He's second last, and Consomme at the rear. He's railed up here the favourite Il Cavallo and led by 3/4 Divine Calling. Iconic sitting outside of them third. It's out 3 wide, followed by Average and then Diamond Oasis. Madam Fly was next. Safeguard's going to save ground near the inside on the turn. Zabadoo got pushed pretty wide, and then Consomme. Il Cavallo in front, but Divine Calling straight up to it. This favourite's in trouble. Average is now starting to run on, and Safeguard's looking for run behind him. Average went up to Divine Calling. Safeguard is now pushing out into the clear, and Diamond Oasis on the outside. Average put its head in front. Safeguard's got the last shot. It's finishing well, and Safeguard beat Average and Divine Oasis. Then came in behind them next Divine Calling, followed further back over the line next by Iconic, and last in was Madam Fly.
Well, $3.50 into $3.10 for Safeguard here on course. The money.
Anyway, which he did. And it probably just went a little bit too hard in the end.
Yeah.
Probably just went a little bit too hard in the end.
Yeah, Safeguard beat Average and Divine Oasis.
Yeah, Safeguard get the prize there. Another one for Exceeding Excel for Daly. Started the day in good style. The big plonk on Il Cavallo. It's choked down. It's got had some issues.
Yeah. The Carbine Club Stakes, this is for the 3-year-olds over a mile. And I can tell you, Toy Deeney, who's been racing so well since he was gelded, he is currently the favourite here on course, but not much in the betting between a few of these 3-year-olds about to go round over the famous Randwick Mile. At this stage, he...
Ready for the second, and they're off. Flying Stitzel broke well. Proverb came out about 3/4 of a length behind them. Flying Stitzel was left in front, but looking across from a leader. And Chatra's going up now to hit the lead with Luna Rise. And then came Bradman and Flying Stitzel down on the fence, followed by Hawkspur. Toy Deeney's worked in now. He looks like he's getting in about one off the rail on the outside. Chatra gets his own way. 3/4 Luna Rise, striding up a little bit closer. The filly Flying Stitzel third on the inside, followed by Bradman. And then Diamond Costa, followed by Hawkspur. He's starting to get worried on Toy Deeney. He's now making his move to try and get up a bit closer before they hit the home turn. Honorius trying to track him forward as they make the bend into the straight now, and Toy Deeney made that fast move to come up on the outside. Chatra led on the fence from Toy Deeney. Luna Rise under pressure in the centre, followed by Hawkspur and then Bradman and Flying Stitzel. It's Toy Deeney out in the centre of the track, hitting the lead, cutting in a bit closer now, but it beat off Chatra. Then came Hawkspur and Bradman, followed by Honorius, but he's sitting quietly on Toy Deeney. This has got plenty up the sleeve, and Toy Deeney is racing away. Toy Deeney much too good. It comes down to the post to win it. Photo for second and third. Hawkspur or Bradman, followed by Honorius. And then came Tatron Prod Costa.
He looked a picture and he raced right up to his looks. Number 2, Toy Deeney. He was a drifter on course out to $4 for Tatra and also for Provis 20, but he looked an absolute treat. To the money coming for Tatra and also for Proverb, but 3
spectacular. Made them look second rate yesterday. The only surprise was the price. 420
behind me across the parade ring. Runners in the yards here for the 3-year-old fillies race, the Adrian Knox. It's always been a great lead up for the AJC and ATC as it is now. And at this stage in the betting, I can tell you, Unimpeachable, the early favourites, just drifted out to around Unimpeachable, the early favourites, just around 420. Money for Royal Descent, $7 into $5. Hold me tight.
There they go. They're off and racing. Unimpeachable, a little bit sluggish out of barrier number 2, missed it slightly. Coyote Miss came out well with Queenstown. Hold Me Tight going forward out wide. And Hold Me Tight and Queenstown will go to the lead from Coyote Miss and then Royal Descent. Golden Pona picking up ground in the Campania red letters and 4 Tracks for Kids as last. They're at the corner at the 1,000 and Queenstown is the leader, led by a length and a half. Hold Me Tight is second, Golden Pona third. And then came Express Power is moving up on the outside. It gets in closer now to be one off the rail, followed by Coyote Miss, and then further back Royal Descent. Sale was next, being joined by Unimpeachable, starting to roll forward, followed by Diva Tira, and then came Windbender Campania, followed by Red Letters and 4 Tracks for Kids about to make a move. Up to the 600 they come, Queenstown the leader, from Hold Me Tight running second. They lead from Express Power. Over on the inside is Golden Pona. Unimpeachable still moving forward. She's out about 4 wide, but coming into it, and then Royal Descent and Windbender. Queenstown just led from Hold Me Tight on the outside. Royal Descent cut through nearer the inside. Then Express Power, Unimpeachable winding up, and then Windbender. It's Express Power and Royal Descent who sprinted up on the inside, and then Unimpeachable. Royal Descent sprinted better than Express Power. Got a length and a half in front, and then Unimpeachable who can't reach them. And Royal Descent carrying the top weight of 59 is coming away and beat Express Power and Unimpeachable. Soul ran fourth. Then Windbender and Hold Me Tight, Diva Tira, followed by Queenstown. And then
Number 1, Royal Descent takes out the Adrian Knox Stakes, another stakes winner for Reduced Choice, King of the Easter Sales Ring. We saw at Inglis through the week. Chris Waller, Nashra Willa combine out of a good mare, Mulan Princess. Gee, she was absolutely dominant. You could see Nashra.
I'm tipping the boss will be pretty happy.
He will be. She was meant to race last week in the Vinery, but had a foot abscess, so Chris saved her for this. And Nash rode it perfectly. Very good one.
Someone the
59, I couldn't believe how good it went.
No, it went outstanding, didn't she? I think she's much better ridden like that, just a little bit off the pace. Her first couple of runs she was day, but she's a very, very good filly. She's out of a good mare and
Yokes?
Absolutely. Why not?
Certainly.
Please stable back from Group 1 company down in weight is Hathras, around 260 here on course. Julie Ennis, who was the early favourite, then the equal favourite, now the second favourite. Julie Ennis, 460 into 420. So good money there also for the horse from the Gay Waterhouse Stable.
And Tremec jumped out okay. Blood Brother missed it slightly. Permit began well. So did Moraine down to the inside, and Julianus rolling forward very quickly after the start. And Julianus took up the running and led from Tremec. Moraine's over on the inside, just in behind them. Thy Hathras is trapped out wide, so Cathy electing to go forward up on the outside to try and find a spot. But he's 3 wide early on, maybe even 4 deep. Followed by Vadavine, Aliana Tilda, then Blood Brother. Followed further back in field. Cassidy now going up to hit the front on Hathras. He's put the pressure on, and he takes over. Julianus went for him with 1 stride, then elected to ease back and take a set. So Hathras now found the fence and led from Julianus, who now comes off the... And Saintly Sun is last of all, 800 to go. And Hathras let roll here by Cassidy is the leader by 3/4 on Julianus and Tremec, followed by Thy. Bowman eases Moraine away from the inside. He's got clear galloping room and he's starting to roll forward, and he's coming up 3 and 4 wide. Eliana Till tracking it, followed further back on the outside by Blood Brother, and then going up in the centre, Permit, followed by Vadabai, and then Hulalua. Into the straight, the leader is Hathras, led by a length and a half. Julianus is gone. Coming at it on the outside is Thy and Moraine, and Blood Brother is sweeping down the outside, and Tremec getting a rails run. Tremec went through now to hit the lead with Blood Brother, and Eliana Tilda. Hathras is dropping out. It's Blood Brother out wide, and Tremec on the inside as they draw down with 100 to go. Tremec's hit the front on the inside from Blood Brother, and Tremec is in front and wins it. Tremec has beaten Blood Brother. Eliana Tilda got third. And then further back, Moraine Hula. This is running a glorious race and has finished tailed off.
Number 10, Tremec, the winner of the Chairman's Quality, Craig New.
Win the race today, and the jockeys that can save ground and give the then fine clear running are going to be the ones that look like that.
Well, something there for Pat Nack. Tremec heading off to the Sydney Cup. Big result here for the bookies. Tremec, good ride here by Newitt, saving the ground.
Let's look at the market for the Sydney Cup. The latest with tab.com.au. Still decisions to be made with Mar Lucky Day. It's another one that's
at different parts. Let's have a look at the market for the Sires Produce Stakes. The English Sires Produce Stakes overreach $1.55 into $1.35. She is a clear-cut favourite. Number 1.
155, 135.
Well, she's the filly to beat, isn't she? She was so dominant in the
Sign of a starters yet. Often racing and overreach. She had that Brian Gate speed again today. She was the first into stride and led from Scandiva. Villa Verdi's rushing up into third spot early, followed by Thump, and then came Florida Fair. Guelph is out wide in the early part. Just inside it is Shahad, followed by Charlie Boy. He's railing up to midfield. Ivana's alongside it as Guelph has to ease back to try and get in, but it's posted 3 wide, followed by Champagne and Windjammer, and then Drago and So Man Up is last of all. It's overreach in front as they run to the 800, coming onto the course proper, led by a length on Villa Verde, up running second, and then came Thump, followed by Scandiva. 2 lengths to Florida Fair. Charlie Boy back on the inside, but he's being niggered along, and then Shahad, followed by Ivana Windjammer. Guelph is still out wide, followed further back by Champagne and Drago, and So Man Up is last of all. The long odds on favourite overreach is the leader as they make the home turn. Villa Verde, the other filly in the race, coming up on the outside, and then came further back in behind them by Thump on the inside, followed by Scandiva. He sits quietly here on this leader. It's overreach in front. Scandiva starting to come up on the outside, and if you're on the short price favourite, you're starting to go to the bar and look for a drink. Overreach just in front. Scandiva's getting on terms on the outside, and now Guelph is starting to rocket home. Guelph is over the top of them, and Guelph has hit the lead and won it, and Guelph has caused an upset and won it here from Scandiva, and Overreach has finished in third spot, followed by Drago and Shahad. Then came Champagne and Havana Charlie Boy, followed by Thump and Florida Fair, and then came Villa Verde, followed by Windjammer, and unfortunately So Man Up has broken down badly in the early.
So Man Up, but well, the upset, well, it wasn't an upset. Guelph, she was the second favourite. She's taken out the size produce stakes here at Royal Randwick, beating home Scandiva, the close relation to Black Caviar, and Overreach in third placing. She tried hard, but these two fillies were just too strong on the day, Rich.
Yeah, they certainly.
She's probably done a good job, won the slipper and what have you. She's probably up to 1200 type, so the longer distance is not really.
100 metres there yesterday. Guelph been in work a long time. Another tribute to the work of Peter Snowden, the team at Darley. And Guelph gets a Group 1, Exceed excelled at a sensational year in the feature Group 1 events. And that's all about what Darley's about, making these horses into A, racehorses and B, stallions. And yeah, it's all Scandiva's race to win there, Mark. About a furlong out, but Guelph is too strong.
Yeah, she was strong. Look, she'd gone into the Golden Slipper with a bit of a break, and I thought she looked a little bit better yesterday. On the other side, Overreach.
Fourth in the Golden Slipper behind Overreach. She's had quite a long preparation, Ron, but she's held up well.
Yeah, well, it's space though. She ran the Blue Diamond and they freshened her right up. So later, she ran the Slipper last week and acted quickly there. And boy, she won with a touch of authority there, like she'd run the mile right out. Her mother Camarilla won this race in 2007. So the blood's come through strongly there. Scandiva, well, what a valuable filly she is now. She's related to Black Caviar and she's placed in a Group 1 and she's a Group 2 winner now. And favourite Overreach, maybe she's come to the end of it. Maybe she's should be just a pure, 1,000, 1,200 metre horse. I don't know. Next preparation will tell that. I don't think she'd go to the mile. And there's a nice horse here, Drago, running into fourth spot. He's still a maiden, but he's showing good promise. They paid a late entry fee for him here, and I don't think he disgraced.
Agree with everything you said. Guelph will be the nominal favourite for the 1,000 guineas already, one would think.
Champagne.
For the 1,000 guineas, though, for the sprint.
Okay, next
yeah,
yep.
yeah. Whether she goes to the Champagne or not.
Really looking forward to seeing in the stand. All right, let's see the market here for the Doncaster Prelude. Raspberries is the tote favourite, $4.10, but not much between a few of these. Mahi Sara at $5.
He's about 3 or 4 lengths last already. Moores Creek was jagged back, and he'll settle down second last. Marasar and Sky Rush the best into stride. They lead from Walaichi, followed by Alma's Fury. Havana Ray's out very wide in the early stages. He's starting to come across up near the lead, followed by Elo. Then Less is More. And Machine just had to check off heels and lost some ground. Then Moores Creek beaten up, hasn't got a lot of room at the moment, followed by Shinzu Steed and Stout Hearted and Classes at the rear. Coming into the straight, Havana Ray led from Marasar. Alma's Fury tracking up nicely. Waluichi's under the whip, followed by Sky Rush, and further back was Elo. Havana Ray led up the rise from Marasara. Alma's Fury and Sky Rush are starting to launch their runs together. Sky Rush is striding up hard on the outside. She hit the front now from Alma's Fury and Marasara. Raspberries is starting to run on late, but it's Sky Rush the leader. Alma's Fury kicking back on the inside. Sky Rush is just clinging on, and she'll beat Alma's Fury. Third home was Elo, and then came Raspberries running fourth. Stout Hearted made up a stack of ground, followed by Moriarty, Class and Marachi.
She seems to love Randwick Skyrush, number 3, the winner of the BMW Doncaster Prelude. Gee, it was a tough battle in minor placings as well. So she's in the money more often than she's not. And Guy Waters now down there again with
Jet. Rich, on the breeding page, you don't see that very often. Super Jet.
No,
No,
I think terrific. And class is class. So I think
It's a great record at Randwick, that mare. She won the Emancipation at Randwick last year, and as Guy said after the race to you, Bruce, obviously she'll be thrown into that race again with the set weight. She'll be very hard to beat.
well, she's not going to the Doncaster. This is the market for the Doncaster, and we'll have an updated likely field from Brent Zarafa shortly. 220 Piero, 750 Norzita, and then it's play your own game outside of that.
well, there's a two.
previous race, but we are up to the feature race of the day, not taking into account Black Caviar, and the final race on the program, the TJ Smith. This is the ATC Derby for 2013. The favourite, short price favourite, is It's a Done Deal. He looks absolutely smashing here in the yard, the son of High Chaparral. He is $1.30 into $1.26. Next best, Philippi at $9. Number 1 in the yard, It's a Done Deal, the short price favourite, caught by High Chaparral from a Zabeel mare whose mother was an Oaks winner in New Zealand in Staring. Murray Baker knows what it takes to win these Australian derbies. James McDonald on board. He's won the Randwick Guineas, the Rosehill Guineas, aiming to be the first horse since Octagonal to take out the autumn 3-year-old Triple Crown.
Yeah, look, Caroline, he won 5, then he lost 3, then he's won his last 2. He's in dashing form. He
Star-studded field that year. They're all set. Right. Often racing. High Shot jumped awkwardly. He came out about a length behind them. Hippopus began well, and so did Bloodbuzz Ohio. And he's going through to take up the lead. Bloodbuzz Ohio in front on settling down from Hippopus, and then came Avastan. Bastrates over on his inside. Philippi easing back along the rail. Kingdom's a little bit wide in the early stages from that wide alley. Solemn in the centre, followed by High Shot. It's a Done Deal, the favourite. Settling back second last, and Gerontius at the rear of the field. About 3 lengths on Philippi, followed by High Shot and Solemn. It's a Done Deal, patiently ridden. He's still giving the leaders a fair start, and Gerontius on the inside. They've got 800 to go in the derby, and Kingdom's on the outside. I'm not sure if the saddle slipped or not here, but he's got the lead now from Bloodbuzz Ohio. Then Bastrate trying to push out off the rail. Hippopus on the outside. Then Avastan a length and a half behind them. Philippi followed in behind them next by High Shot. It's a Done Deal, starting to creep up. He's a little bit wide on the outside of Solemn, and Gerontius last. It's a packing field in the derby, and Kingdom's just in front from Hippopus. Then Avastan, followed further back by Philippi making his run. It's a Done Deal, still about 5 or 6 lengths off the lead, but he hasn't moved on him yet. Kingdom's led up the rise, but he's erratic. It's a Done Deal chiming in, and the Pocket Rocket from New Zealand throwing them in a stride, and It's a Done Deal race to the front at the 200-metre mark. This is an exercise gallop. He's moving away for one of the most impressive wins you'll ever see in the derby. It's a Done Deal, and a hand canter wins it by 5 lengths. Philippi got second, Kingdom's third, and then came in behind them Gerontius, followed by Hippopus and Bastrate and Avastan from High Shot, Bloodbuzz Ohio, and Solemn has finished last of all.
Absolutely dominant display there. It's a Done Deal takes out the David Jones Australian Derby for 2013. James McDonald linking up with Murray Baker, and this horse, he just let him go. As they came around the turn, he just had him in the right spot. Trailing up behind Philippi, he's hooked him out, and the horse has just accelerated. The blink of an eye. He is a massive winner of the Australian Derby. 3 Philippi, second placing, 8.
drive the race perfectly, where he was in the run and what he had to do, and it was nothing more than a track gallop for him. Wow, you won't see a more dominant. Don't worry about the quality of opposition behind. Worry about the winner and what he's done to them. Because Philippi's a pretty handy galloper. So's Avastan. So's Cognillo and all.
As good a winner as you'd see in a Group 1 derby anywhere.
Yeah, no, he did it pretty easy today. We thought he was spot on. He was much the same form as he was before the Rosehill Guineas.
It's a bit embarrassing, really, wasn't it, the way he put them to the sword in a couple of strides?
Well, he's got that great acceleration, Bruce. You know, he seems to be, just picks them up, and he's a pretty relaxed horse. Very happy with him today in the stalls. He was so...
Where does he sit?
Oh, I think he's the best, yeah. I think he's a very good horse. Yeah, very good horse. You know,
Yes, man, what a performance.
It was better than last time, wasn't it? I mean, it was just, you were just hanging on for the ride there.
It was easier than last time. There was no rustling for positions or getting knocked down early part, but it was a real enjoyable race to ride in. He just towed me to the 600, and I got him just unbelievably drag into it from Philippi. And when he went forward, I just got on his back, and it was just a matter of how far I was going to win by. And I don't think I've ever won a race so easy, and that's a Group 1 in Australia Derby. You know, like, it's incredible.
Just tells you how well.
certainly a good colt, and he's done it in the last 3 starts, all Group 1s in Sydney. They're hard to win, and he broke race record in the Randwick Guineas, and he's won his last two by 7 and 6. So
It's the first time since the
exam. Let's go back a long way.
Blanks.
Absolutely right there. Most impressive, perhaps, since Bozam. Let's go back a long way. Margin was 6. The price was short there. $1.24. Sectionals. Black Caviar got home in 12. This has got home at the end of 2,400 and 11.32 and matched Black Caviar for the last 400. But and did it on its ear. You watch that with some sort of in the back there, Murray, there?
Well, I think I'm very fortunate to have a good horse, Bruce. And, you know, he's got the pedigree. He's out of his appeal mare.
It's your family, isn't it? This goes back a long way. Then.
Yeah, I trained the grandmother. She won an Oaks and another Group 1. And I've trained probably 6 or 7 horses out of the family. And they usually get better with time. So we're hoping this guy will be a good 4-year-old.
Now, Murray James is trying to tell us he was a 2,000-metre horse when he came in here, but he's just won a derby by 6 lengths. What do you think?
Well, I think he's that good. He can run over any distance. Yeah, I certainly do, Mark.
Now, what do you do in a fortnight's time, the Queen Elizabeth?
Well, have a think about it. The next 3 or 4 days will make it.
I'm now chiming in. New Zealand in a stride, and it's a done deal. Race to the front at the 200-metre mark. This is an exercise gallop. He's moving away for one of the most impressive wins you'll ever see in the Derby. It's a done deal, and a hand canter wins it by 5 lengths. Philippi got second, Kingdom's third.
Well, he's got that acceleration, Peter, and he just really got the
3-year-old Triple Crown, the Randwick Guineas, the Rosehill Guineas, the Derby, and Richard, all in very, very easy fashion.
That was spine tingling when he got to the outside Philippi, and I thought, well, these two might make a race of it. It was over in 2 strides, and James McDonald never moved on him. Didn't even lift his hands off his neck. I mean, this is very, very special. They're probably not the A team behind him. They're the B team. Philippi, there's some scope for improvement there. He may improve, but that horse there, I just want to see the clash. 5.5 star, super cool. It's a done deal. Put them in a race together. I reckon that's a special race. And I wouldn't be surprised if this horse cleans them up, especially in Sydney. He seems to be a better horse up here. But, I couldn't be more impressed with him. A lovely ride from James. I thought he might have got too far back. They didn't go that hard in front, which was puzzling because there was Hippopus pulling outside the leader. I thought, Nash, let him go. There's your chance. But he didn't. And when he got outside Philippi, he left him in his wake, Ron.
Yeah, look, that was Bozam like, wasn't it? That's the way he destroyed him in a derby. And look, he's well, what's going to happen now? Could we see? Don't worry about 5.5 star and all that. Could we see the Queen Elizabeth with Piero, and it's a done deal? Maybe
That
we
would be a
can.
race.
That will be the race of the carnival.
That
That
will be a
will
race.
happen if Trouble Piero wins the Doncaster.
One race away, we have the Sapphire Stakes coming up as the next race on the program. And just to mention too, Murray Baker, the trainer of that dominant winner of the ATC Derby. It's a done deal on Racing Review tomorrow. All right, runners now in the Sapphire Stakes. 440 favourite is Arenosa.
The market
Racing, New Beginning came out behind them, Mr. Stark clearly, and Karuta Queen flew out of the stalls and took up the running and led from Alder, moving through into second. Satin Shoes going through near the inside was Shammer Wind. Then Ladies Angel followed by Mrs. Onassis. Dystopia on the back of the speed in about 6th spot. Followed in behind them next by Detours. Forfeiture over on the rail, and then Emmeline followed further back in behind them by Miss Stella Bell. Gay's Choices out wide. Arenosa in the second half of the field, followed by 4 Rainy Day, New Beginning, and Soft Sanders last of all. Running up inside the 600-metre mark, Karuta Queen the leader. Ladder length on Alder, Satin Shoes on the inside from Ladies Angel and Shamel Wind. Dystopia next coming up 3 and 4 deep on the home turn. And then Gay's Choice wider out, followed by Emmeline, Mrs. Onassis, and then Detours. And Arenosa pulled out wide. Karuta Queen in front. Alder and Dystopia sprinting fast down the centre. It's moving up quickly now to hit the lead. Dystopia. Arenosa's coming after it though. It's Arenosa moving up fast to hit the lead. Don't tell me she's going to win again. Arenosa is surging away. And look at her go, Arenosa. She's putting a space on them and goes down to win it by about 4 lengths. Miss Stella Bell got second, Photo third for a Rainy Day or a Dystopia. Then Detours and a New Beginning followed by Alta. And then Finn.
Very underrated mare, number 5, Arenosa. She is just continuing on that winning run. She's now taken a Group 2, last time a Group 3. Now she's a Group 2 winner, the daughter of Dash for Cash. 5, Arenosa for Brenton Abdullah's beaten home.
just can't. I'm amazed how good this mare's going. That was a Group 2. She'll have a go at a Group 1, surely. She's entitled to. She didn't just win. She's up. Look at that. She's absolutely blown them away. Have a look at this margin. Number 5, Aaron O'Toole.
Amazing what she's done, and it's something you can't explain. And it's something you can't explain. And as I said before the race, it's something that confidence does for horses, does for sports people, does for anyone in general. If you're winning and you get treated like a winner, you feel a little bit extra. And wins, yeah, they have been. All of them, right from Fleming.
Yeah, but he does have a full brother to this horse, Arenosa.
Right from Fleming.
Yeah, but he does have a full brother to this horse, Arenosa, that I think he was.
Much credit. You know, Chris has done a super job with the girly rides of Jess.
I can't believe how good she's going, Mark. I really can't.
That's great. You've said that before.
Can you believe?
No, no. In my wildest dreams, I would never have thought she could do this.
Group 2.
Yeah, to win by what? She win by 4 lengths, 4 1/4. Running away. You know, 6 months ago, you wouldn't have mentioned her in the same breath as a stablemate Dystopia.
Started second pick at a midweek before she went down to Melbourne.
Yeah, couldn't pick up.
Arenosa, she's a mare in form. She's just been in sparkling form.
She's had 28 starts, something like that. She's won 9 races. She's won 5 of them virtually on the trot. It's just an amazing improvement in that mare. She's just come from nowhere and keeps lifting the bar every time she's asked. I just find it a phenomenon. I mean, she's winning at big odds.
Unbelievable. To think that, you know, to think that, you know, like the last 9 starts, there's 6 wins in 3 seconds, and the dominance of that win, like they're just bunched there, these fillies and mares, but she's putting margins in them. You know, I was thinking maybe she's looking for 1400 now because she can run the 1400s and 1500s, but Chris has done a marvellous job with her. He's kept her fresh. She's a happy mare and a classic case of an informed mare. Look, Miss Delabelle was held up and should have finished a lot closer. I quite like this filly that runs last, would you believe? Emmeline, a Brisbane mare. Who just never got a crack at him at any stage in the straight.
There is the theatre of the horse. Plenty of theatre here this afternoon. The mighty mare, Black Caviar, 24 from 24. She is what is attracting all these people out to the theatre of the horse for its grand opening here this afternoon. Plenty of salmon and black is all around this parade ring here. And even though she hasn't done anything yet today, there was an almighty cheer. Second TJ Smith Stakes against a quality field of sprinters here. As far as the betting is concerned, she is currently $1.16 here on course. Caviar by Bellaspree out of Helsing. We know that breeding so well. She's beaten 35 Group 1 winners in her career, including Slipper, Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup winners. She's won 14 Group 1s. The half-brother made $5 million at the yearling sales. She's going for 25 from 25.
I never listened at school, but I've
reduced capacity pretty much on ground or first or second floor level here at Randwick this afternoon, but every vantage point has been taken, even round the back of
that. Caviar, 116 into 114, back to $1.16. Seaside.
And Bell Sprinter came out last of all. Black Caviar began well. Rain Affair was the best into stride. How Much Do You Love Me going up on the outside. Nolan's bringing Black Caviar on the inside to settle down in 3rd spot. Followed by Decision Time. Haylish was out a little bit wider. Atomic Force just up in front of it. Followed by Tidal and Sea Siren. Bell Sprinter saving ground. Now he's railing up onto the back of Black Caviar. Followed further back by Epaulet. And on the lookout last of all, Nolan trying to get away from the inside to avoid being boxed up here. And the leader, Rain Affair, led from Haylist on the outside, Black Caviar in the centre, and How Much Do You Love Me on the inside of them, followed by Bell Sprinter. He's worked up to midfield, followed by Decision Time, and then Tidal Atomic Force, followed by Seasire and Epaulet, and further back on the lookout, Rain Affair, kicked away at the stop of the straight. Nolan asking the mare to come after him now, and in a heartbeat, she raced up and hit the lead. She's giving Sydney some of the black magic, and look at her go, Black Caviar. She raced away. She's going to set a new Group 1 record in Australia. She's truly in a league of her own. Black Caviar racing away from Epaulet. Black Caviar let us down. Beat Epaulet. Third home Bell Sprinter. And then Rain Affair, Seasire and Decision Time. Followed further back by How Much Do You Love Me. And then Tidal Atomic Force, Haylist. And last in was On the Lookout.
25 from 25. Let's go down to Bruce Clark with the connections.
Exactly. And I'm sure satisfying in so many ways for you.
Yeah, it's, you know, each time we get lost for words, Bruce, but that's the best field she's ever met, they tell me. So, listen, I'm just really pleased that she's put on one hell of a show for the big crowd that have come out here. Sydney haven't had the pleasure of her as much as Victoria and anywhere else. You know, I'm just really proud of her to bring the show on the road.
I'm sure you've enjoyed this challenge.
She's broken 3 or 4 records again today, 25 straight. Unbelievable. 15 Group 1s. What more do you say? Horses look fast until they line up beside her.
And Luke was out there to make sure.
Found a nice spot. It was going to be the most difficult thing with drawing one. But I found a spot pretty comfortable. Run at third, and then I just wanted to give myself my opportunity and clear running. And Prince Schofield on A-list, he had other ideas of it, and he's going to make me really earn it today, bugger him. But look, she's done it both ends, and look, they didn't protect her in Sydney. She still kicked their ass.
Well said.
You won again, and to break Kingston Town's record is phenomenal.
This is your hometown, Neil, and she came here as a
In a heartbeat, she raced up and hit the lead. She's giving Sydney some of the black magic. And look at her go, Black Caviar. She raced away. She's going to set a new Group 1 record in Australia. She's truly in a league of her own. Black Caviar racing away from Epaulet. Black Caviar doesn't let us down. Beat Epaulet. Third home Bell Sprinter.
25 straight, 15 Group 1s. That eclipses Kingston Town. 8 in a row. That eclipses Burnborough. She's a stats machine. Better than that, she's a racing machine and a publicity machine for the sport. Absolutely fantastic. And Gary, as you watch it again, it looks as though that Luke was out, perhaps on Peter's instructions, to make sure that the show was spectacular. And there was no loafing to the line yesterday.
No, I just think that she's just in good nick, so there's no need to sort of hold her up and just let her run to the line.
Big, strong girl, you know what I mean?
I think Peter and his team, a proud Sydney man, that was one of the great highlights for him to lead the horse back. You are saying you want to bring this to an end at some stage.
Well, we have to. So, without being silly about the whole thing, we just don't know. We're going to meet with Peter probably towards the end of this week and just see how she's racing. Obviously, she's still racing. And
That I think would be brilliant, though, putting them on at the last race.
Oh, look, I loved it. I loved it. Although it could backfire if you got a bad day and you get the worst of the track, if you get rain during the day. But that's what happens in outdoor sports. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
The other thing, just before we
All be lobbying to get it. They want her in Brisbane, they want her in South Australia, and of course the option is there to go to Royal Ascot. So we'll see, but they'll be trying to woo her. That's for sure everywhere. Let's have a look at her. Here's this.
She raced away. She's going to set a new Group 1 record in Australia. She's truly in a league of her own. Black Caviar racing away from Epaulet. Black Caviar doesn't let us down. Beat Epaulet. Third home Bell Sprinter.
Okay, man, by any stretch, but she generally touches me.
When did you realise? About a 25, the most Group 1s of any Australian galloper. 15 now, 15 Group 1s, takes her past Kingston Town. What a pleasure to have her in Sydney.
Wow. In all my time in racing, I've never seen people line Allison Road there taking pictures and videos and clapping, and they're the people that couldn't get into the track. They're lining the roads of Sydney to see her. It was just amazing stuff. Great ride, Nolan. Great ride. He knew he had to get her off the fence late in the day there at Randwick. Schofield loomed up on his outside there on Hayless, put some pressure on him. He held his ground. And she did the rest. She did the rest. She was simply supreme. There's no doubt about it, Richard. Did they say that pony very lucky, very lucky?
I just want to say, I enjoyed this win more than any other win, perhaps, because she was forced to race and not just allowed to do whatever she liked. And she had to go to a top. And we don't see her at a top all that often or for all that long in a race. And she did have to go to a top. And plan A didn't work. They had to go to plan B with her. And she's a champion. She's good enough to get over that. So two races I've enjoyed most in her career have both been at Randwick. I've enjoyed the TJ Smith twice. I think it has been her two greatest wins, in my opinion.
Newmarket was pretty good.
Newmarket was great. Look, I'm splitting hairs. Yeah. But I've enjoyed those two wins enormously. Question for Holger. I was on air yesterday and Tom Waterhouse said, well, we're talking about the Cox Plate. And he said, well, Piero will be retired. Now, that was the first I'd heard of that. Is that something that everyone knew that I didn't?
Where were you last Sunday, Richard? Fair dinkum, mate. I said it on the show.
Did you say he would be retired?
I said that let's enjoy the next 1 or 2 starts because my gut instinct is saying
That's not his gut instinct.
By someone who's the son of the trainer.
Well, Greg Colliver hasn't come out and said that. He said to me, he texted me last night, he said, there'll be no ultimate decision on Piero until after this.
For facts, and he's given me his gut instinct.
Well, it's an assumption, I think. It's an assumption.
That was his first run since the Guinea. Look, Haylist. Andrew, any reports on Haylist this morning? He was beat this morning. He was beaten 20 lengths.
Look, test done today on his lungs. We know that Glenn Schofield got off and said that there was a problem with his breathing. He made a noise, a really heavy noise through the race. So they're going to take some samples out of his lungs. And
you mentioned the sun.
Guess you can run them. Look at the salmon and black. Let's head back down to Melbourne. It's an unproven stallion, and that was always the query with Frankel, that she wasn't necessarily going to go to a Frankel because his first foals aren't even on the ground. You don't know what these stallions
But Cara,
do.
if they're not shut, yeah, their last win was probably better than the first. That's the way a champion deserves to go out. I'm just privileged that I've been able to work with such a wonderful horse, a wonderful group of people, the owners enjoying my little girl, and you know, it's just very fitting. I'm very grateful that you've all come out here to see her off. Thank you.
An appropriate tribute. Peter Moody spoke beautifully. Donna Fisher's having a moment, her last moment alone with this girl. She was crying her eyes out and being hugged by Paddy Bell, obviously, who's so phase of her life, being a mum. Who will she go to? That's another great story. Of course, the famous salmon with the black spots will be retired now. The owners have said that they will race the progeny, but they'll be racing them in probably the salmon with the black star diamonds is the colours that they're out of the mounting out, and we say goodbye to the champ.
Big farewell yesterday to the champ. I think to many, the surprise news on Wednesday, Mark, that the owners, in consultation with Peter, decided to call it quits on top 25. I think that might have been one of the last option that we'd all sort of come up with.
Yeah, I think we were all thinking, oh, she'll race on again and maybe go to England and then be served over there. So it was a bit of a surprise that they announced she was retired, although Gary sort of said...
In charge of the 25 of Black Caviar, and this is what we do remember her for, the deeds on the track. Here you go. 25 starts, 25 wins, 15 Group 1s. That's an Australian racing record. 8 in a row. That's an Australian racing record. Not enough prize money, although 8 million is not too shabby. And there's some extra stats for you there. Raced on the track for 28 minutes at $4,729 per second. 39 individual Group 1 winners. She raced against 195 career rivals over 79.7 lengths, and it was over 1,459 days of her career, 4 years from the first day she went to the racetrack. And in fact, the horse that went round in the first race that she ran in, Amathon, went round yesterday. She was odds on 24 of 25 times, Rich. She could have got the $3 first up. And after that, odds on every start.
Just quickly, Mark, my old man...
In that press conference was suddenly called at 3 p.m, the retirement of the great mare Black Caviar. Probably selfish. I would have liked to have seen her race for another 3 or 4 maybe, only because every time she goes around, what she does for racing, it's everywhere, Ron, and it'll never happen again.
No, it won't. But I'm a little bit the opposite. I'm glad it's happened. She's got not much else to prove. Look, she could have had 50 starts, but if she got beat once, it just takes the gloss off it. And I think the right decision's been made, and I trust Peter Moody's judgment and the owners. And I love the fact that she's going to go down in history as unbeatable.
Let's just have a look at some of her.
And that they were able to still win that race.
If I could be greedy, I would have liked to seen her go a crop back over there for the 1,000-metre race because she's untouchable at that distance, and just show. If there's one regret, I don't think they saw the best of her, and they'll never admire how good she really is over there in Europe.
They'll never rate her above Frankel.
Oh no, well that's not going to happen. But I mean, over there. But I mean,
they gave her a big fair.
Very emotional, a great moment there. Now the next big talk about here, Richard, is which stallion. Do you know who's Black Caviar's going to? Is it Fastnet Rock, Redute's Choice? Is it Animal Kingdom?
Well, it could well be, Andrew. I'm sure on the phone trying to find out. We've had an email on that. Craig from Coleroy says, "I wonder if Black Caviar's owners will get a marquee to watch her first mating."
Could be more than.
Favourite on the Toaders line, a bit classic. Are off and racing, and coming out quite well was Heart Tester. It was one of the best into stride. Limes and Eximius began well with Platinum Kingdom. Air Striker rolling up along the inside. Right away coming into the straight. He's about 3 lengths clear as they top the rise from Limes. Air Striker, Maximius, and then came down the outside. We got Casual Choice running on. Platinum Kingdom is getting a run near the inside. Heart Tester in front, but starting to put in some short ones. And Platinum Kingdom went through now and hit the lead. The Kiwi shot away Platinum Kingdom, and Platinum Kingdom reveling the ground clear, and will go down to win it from Casual Choice. Oh, he's kicking right off the track, but he had enough off the sleeve, and Platinum Kingdom won it from Casual Choice. Limes third from Heart Tester, then Eximius followed by last.
Well, he did plenty wrong there at the death there, and Platinum Kingdom still managed to hang on to the.
These horses up today on the wet track, but we might see something different.
Season himself at the stand, and Lisa Ladder and Bruce Hur with a team head towards Queensland. At least you know to handle the wet. Platinum Kingdom almost threw Jonathan Riddell off going to the track, and then almost tried to depart with it on the track there. But
well, it did throw him off going.
The first of our Group 1 features, the Patnack Farm ATC Oaks. And I can tell you the New Zealand filly has been a bit of a drifter. Habibi, she's out to around the $3.70 mark. Of course, she is the winner of the New Zealand Derby, beating the boys over there in their big feature race for the 3-year-olds. And coming out behind Norzita and Longport in the Vinery Stud Stakes. She's now up to $3.80, 5 into $4.60 for Royal Descent, $7 for Dear Demi, $9 more than from start time. And Dear Demi, she got out to $7. Longport, 5 into $4.40 now for Royal Descent, backing up from last week. Rich?
Yeah, well, Royal Descent got back out to $4.80, and then the second wave of money's come, and she's now into $4.40. So I just can't.
And the Great Dispatch, they came out as one. More Than Sacred, the Kiwi went through to take the lead from Habibi. Longport was out of the stalls okay. And Summer Bliss is going forward, and Zacotto from the outside alley is starting to burn across to try and get in a little bit closer. And they lead from Habibi, who settles down just behind them, followed by Dear Demi, who's trapped out pretty wide as they leave the straight. And then further back on the inside, She's a Girl and Windbender picking up ground via the inside, running Royal Descent as second last. And Gondokula Habibi's pulling its way up on the outside as they drop the speed noticeably here in the middle stages. Royal Descent awkwardly placed back on the inside for the moment, followed by Summer Bliss. And then Dear Demi starting to edge up, and Gondokoro at the rear. 800 to go, and the leader More Than Sacred about a head in front of Zacotto, who's inching a little bit closer on the outside, followed by Longport and Windbender, and then Royal Descent is now picking up ground via the inside. She's run up into fifth spot, followed by in behind them next to Bibi, who's being hard ridden. Summer Bliss just inside Ed. Further back behind them, Gondokoro. Dear Demi's got a lot of work to do, and She's a Girl, but Royal Descent took the inside running, and she's for home now. Royal Descent. She sprinted away up the rise, 3 lengths on Longport and Windbender. Then Summer Bliss, followed by Habibi and Dear Demi, but Royal Descent is cruising down to the 200 metres. She put the writing on the wall here last week. She's about 8 lengths in front of Dear Demi and Royal Descent. This is a massacre. Royal Descent is coming away in the Oaks and wins it by a big space, about 8 or 9 lengths on Dear Demi. Gondokoro got third. Then Habibi, followed by Longport. Windbender was next from Summer Bliss, Zacotto, and More Than Sacred finished last as yet.
Well, as I said in the preview, Royal Descent bred to be an Oaks winner. Another Oaks winner for Reduced Choice, a great training performance. Chris Waller to back this filly up. He wasn't sure he was going to right through the week, but he has backed her up from the Adrian Knox. She is now the winner of the Patnack Farm ATC Oaks for 2013, and a very sent by Reduced Choice.
Under the Oaks, you just won it. Yeah, and even today, I spoke to Claire Bird and Jerry Harvey several times, and we made a decision basically at 1 o'clock that we were deciding we were going to run. She was going to the paddock, so only instructions really to Nash were if she wasn't going to be in a winning position, don't knock her about. She's a really good horse and she'll be there for next year, but she's shown she's done it this year.
Could you envisage that sort of performance?
Right from the start, because she was passed in at the Magic Millions Gold Coast sale from Barrymore, Jerry's Barrymore stud, for $340,000. The reserve was $350,000. So obviously she was a filly that had high importance for Jerry and has won it.
But I don't think you've won many Group 1s by 10, have you?
No, definitely not. A bit lost for words, you know. She
I knew he had something. Well, Chris is, I think, known for a long time. He had something pretty special, and I thought the other day it was a momentous effort. You know, it was definitely worth having a crack at this race, and she's gone beyond all expectations today to what she did.
And she's obviously kept.
Well, a maiden in December and a Group 1 in April, and not just one, as Mark called it, the massacre. You watch it again, you think that's 10 lengths. That is 10 lengths. That's
I
extraordinary.
just
win.
remember the day Chris said to us on TV, and he said it might be one of the best horses I've put a saddle on. I think that was the day she got beat. We've always thought you've had something good.
Yeah, no, she's very special. Nothing out of the ordinary that's showing me that, but simply just a little characteristics and winning her first race when she wasn't wound up to win and just handled it all very well with a great attitude.
It was $8 to $3.60 on the share cannery that day.
I found it awesome.
He told me last night when I spoke to him, he said now set for the Caulfield Cup and Cox Plate. I suppose that'd be the logical path, a Caulfield Cup after that.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. And it was good with Jerry. We sat down, assessed the race from the beaten.
She's about 8 lengths in front of Dear Demi and Royal Descent. This is a massacre. Royal Descent is coming away in the Oaks and wins it by a big space, about 8 or 9 lengths on Dear Demi. Gondokoro got third.
What we thought was the end of the preparation, and that's what makes great horses, is they dig deep when you think they can't do it, and that's what she.
Pretty smart win there. 10 lengths was the margin of Randwick yesterday.
Well, I'm still scratching my head because I thought she was talented, but I didn't think she was that good, and I didn't think the others were that bad. I mean, how does she win by 10? It's just, it's still, I'm still scratching my head how it's happened, but there you are. Seeing is believing. Away she went. Her win the previous week was good without being exceptional. She stepped up 10 lengths here more.
Yeah, they can do that. Look, the only time will tell how good she really is. A few people saying, well, that was just the sign of a champion in the future. But let's just settle down a bit. This is a heavy 10 track, and these things can happen when you get a bottomless track like this. Although it had started to improve by this stage of the day. And look, she always travelled like a winner. And I don't want to take any gloss off the win at all. But let's just wait. As far as to say that she's a Caulfield Cup favourite and all this sort of rubbish, let's just wait and see. Settle how she comes back.
But a lot of that, a 3-year-old fillies winning the Oaks should, can be favourites for the Caulfield Cup. A lot of that's all changed now with these European horses coming in for the Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup. That's all old thinking. That it's very hard now to beat those European horses, no matter how good a 3-year-old filly appears to be.
He'll have plenty of internationals at home. Chris Waller being targeted towards the cups. It was the biggest winning margin since 1998 when Might and Power won the Queen Elizabeth Stakes by 10.5 lengths.
BMW Doncaster Mile. And Piero, well, he's been a drifter. We saw Habibi drifting in the Oaks and getting beaten. Piero, well, the connections will be hoping that's not the case. He's out to $3.40. The champion Colt, of course, he's unbeaten 10 from 10 in Sydney. And, of course, he has been unbeaten this preparation as well. Piero, $3.40, opened up at $3.20. You've got Appearance at $8. Red Tracer is at $9. Norzita, $10, along with Streamer, who's been well back, $13. Into $10. We're racing, of course, on the heavy 10 here. But as I said, the good news, the Blue Skies are here for the feature race here this afternoon. And, of course, one more race. Number 2, Piero, the Colt by Lonhro. He's won 11 out of 13, placed another 2 occasions. For Gay Waterhouse, she's looking for her 8th Doncaster Mile. And this horse, will it be his swan song? Will it be the last time we see him? Let's hope not. But the connections, Greg Colivos, Gay Waterhouse, Nashville are certainly hoping. If that's the case, he goes out on a winning note.
He's never been 60, but it's been rock solid the last 10 minutes of betting at 360. Last Harmonian is $51, falls out for the Doncaster.
Oh, she's a bonny mare, isn't she? She's just done so well in so many stakes races. She would deserve the group.
Starter hasn't gone up as yet. Now they're off and racing. And Streamer and Happy Trails both came out well. Norzita began very fast. And Fontalina driving through to join them in front. So Fontalina and Norzita settle in the lead. Piero and Alma's Fury not all that far away. Monton from a wide alley going forward. And then came Happy Trails in that group as they settle down. Streamer just in behind them. Followed by Light in the Night, Strike the Stars. Aeronautical over on the inside next. Followed by Secret Admirer. It looks to be out fairly wide. So does Dan Lee. Appearance in that group. Followed further back by Ethiopia. Red Traces a long way back with Shootout. Sacred Falls and Glass Harmoniums at the back of the field. Monton straight across and led, and they're pulling up to a pretty slow pace here, led by a length and a half, Norzita.
Dreamer on the outside, followed by Fodolina. Secret Admirers wide. Alma's Fury in the centre. Piero back near midfield on the inside from Happy Trails, Danley, and then Appearance and Light in the Night, followed by Red Tracer. Then Aeronautical, Ethiopia next, followed by Strike the Stars. And well back was Shootout, and he's pretty wide. Glass Harmonium. And last is Sacred Falls. Leader is Monton from Norzita, striding up to join it as they make the home turn. They're in advance of Streamer on the outside. Secret Admirer starting to stride up to almost join them. Then Alma's Fury and Fondolina. And Danley's coming to the outside. The 3-year-old filly, Norzita, went up and hit the lead. Streamer on the outside. Piero's got the inside run. He's starting to charge through with Sacred Falls. Norzita in front. Piero and Sacred Falls. And then Streamer out in the centre. Here's a great finish. Sacred Falls and Piero settle down to fight it out. The 3-year-olds, but Sacred Falls. Sacred Falls beat Piero. Norzita got third, followed by Streamer. And then Danley and Shootout from Appearance, and then Alma's Fury and Light in the Night, followed by Secret Admirer, and then came Happy Trails, Strike the Stars, followed by Glass Harmonium, and then Fodolina, Monton, Red.
Sacred Falls, number 18, takes out the BMW Doncaster Mile for Tommy Berry, the former New Zealand galloper. Geez, one at good odds too. Piero, well, he was gallant. He came through on the inside. Norzita, speaking of gallant, she led them up, and she's still fighting on into third placing. But
clear in the afternoon. And then the Group 1, Patinack Farm Oaks, he wins with Royal Descent. Now the BMW Doncaster, the 3-year-old Sacred Floors. And all that does is say, how good is the form behind It's a Done Deal, who toyed with it in the Rosehill Guineas. 2, Piero was gallant with 57. Norzita was great on top of the speed.
Good description. Yeah, it's racing at its finest. You can't describe it. You can't prepare for it. And it's an amazing feeling.
A lot of punters coming today thinking a 3-year-old would win the Doncaster Mile, but perhaps not yours. Even you thought about not running.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, if it was left up to me, we'd hardly have any runners today. I just thought it's even a wonder we're racing. It's a credit to what a club can provide, because we've had a lot of rain and we're running a Doncaster and good horses are winning.
You won a Doncaster twice before. What did you really think about this horse's chances of firstly making the field? And here you are.
I thought, I don't really know. I just think from having those previous ones gives you the confidence to say he can do it.
After last start against the 3-year-old, just of you tomorrow, and Killiney set up for the Sydney Cup next week. What else for Chris?
Hey, exactly. It's a fantastic.
On a defeat with that big weight, and this horse came off his back in the straight, and with the pull on the weights was too strong at the finish. But Piero's one was great, I thought.
It was.
The race.
In a Doncaster, like 2 races, you want to win a Golden Slipper in a Doncaster, and I did both in the one season. But no, he did. He got chopped out at the start, so I was a little bit further back than I wanted to be. But he always felt like the winner in the run, and when Nash had gone for Piero, I was very happy to see that because I was still on the bet. So, great training performance by Chris, and thanks to the owners and everyone for their support.
Well done to the same thing. We talk about the Doncaster, we talk about TJ Smith and Gate making in their race. It was your first Group 1 in 2008 Triple Honour. You've won 3 of the last 6 Doncasters. It's fastly becoming the CJ Waller race.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but Triple Honour gave me a lot.
Well, as Chris touched on, first 6 unbeaten in New Zealand, but first win in Australia, a Group 1 Doncaster Mile, $160,000 yearling for Raffles Racing. I'm Chris, and good luck to the Chittick family. Got some issues to deal with off the track, but good luck to them.
Wasn't it great that the owner, the representative that spoke yesterday,
Piero?
I don't think I've ever had a horse go that good and get beat. He, it was a champion ever. I thought he had him at the 350. We full credit to the ride on the winner. He picked me out there sitting out back last. I thought, well, this horse back I'm going to get on, and just been able to have the last shot at me. Fought the track together this morning, and both thought, well, that's our last option, the fence, and he's got up there and beat me.
There's not many horses in a Group 1 race that you can afford to travel up to the top of the rise and then ask to let down and quicken up like she did. But she drew a really tricky marble, the preparation going into it, the planning, and basically they just said right away, you have to make a decision from out there, and she really left the gates well today, and I thought she's really admirable. She really...
We go here, obviously Piero will be by Piero.
Look, it was such a slowly run race. I think the boys pointed out their horses who were back and wide, I think faced a bit of a task because just looking at it sectionally, they were 2.5 slower than the 2-year-olds for the first 1,000. That's just absolute walking pace. So No, I think horses.
Greg Collivis, just before we started, that Hero has been officially retired from racing. Gai Waterhouse and Greg spoke for a lengthy period this morning. They feel the 5-time Group 1 winner has done enough in his racing career. No stallion deal has been locked away. That'll be the next thing for Greg Collivis.
Yesterday, I was really getting the horses to travel through it heavy going, and I got him nice hard on the bit. But the whole race, I had Piero in my sights.
Well, how far in front of you would Piero have been at his furthest in front of you?
He probably would have been about 4 lengths.
Right. By the time you straightened up, you were.
I was hard on his back, yeah. Well, as I said, I was watching him. So once one horse moved out the way, I quickened straight into the position and got him to his back, and you know, had the best position in the race. And my horse really sprinted well once he got off his back. Probably got.
Look, I don't know about unlucky, but I think Hugh Bowman wouldn't be happy with himself this morning. I don't think I give you a lot of raps. I don't think that was one of his best rides on Shootout. I don't think he wanted to be back there and then circling the whole field. I thought Shootout's performance was one of the better performances in the race. But look, other than that, Hero was gallant in defeat. Norzita, she was great. The 3-year-olds reigned supreme there, but I thought Shootout deserved a special mention.
We're looking forward to a sensational day's racing. 4 big Group 1s on the program. The runners are just coming into the yard for race 1 on the program. This is the Frank Packer Plate, and they are just starting to mill around in front of a good crowd up the back here in the Theatre of the Horse. Looking at the market here, first of all, Toy Dini is the favourite, short price favourite. He's been in super form winning the Far Open.
They're often racing. And in the main, a good dispatch. Hawkspur going back towards the tail with Toy Dini just after the start. In fact, he's allowing the favourite to drop right away to the tail. And the only filly in the field, Cameo, jumped out well and took up the running and leads from Laser Flash, who's moving around the outside to join and head it now. Followed by Sir Denzel and then New Sainity, followed by Honorius, who's back along the Kingdoms, is back second last on the fence, and Toy Dini on the outside is still at the rear with it. So past the 800, it's Laser Flash to leader from Cameo. The pace has been pretty slow all the way, and then New Sainity and Sir Denzel, followed by in behind them Honorius. Hawkspur's about to take off. Toy Dini will get onto its back, and Kingdom is coming away from the inside and looking for runs in the centre. It's a packing field coming into the straight. 500 to go. Laser Flash narrowly over Cameo. Hawkspur sweeping around the outside with Sir Denzel. Then Honorius switching out into the clear. Usanity getting an inside run, and then Toy Dini coming down the outside, and Kingdoms is at the back of the field. Usanity got right up along the inside and took the lead here from Honorius. Toy Dini's going to dig deep here. It's Honorius and Usanity. It's Usanity and Honorius. Honorius and Usanity. Usanity's in front. Usanity has just won it from Honorius. Third rest between Toy Dini, who had his chance, and Kingdoms, who was wayward up the straight. And then Laser Flash and Hawkspur, followed by Sir Denzel. And Cammy finished last of all.
Well, Usanity could be a big day for Murray Baker. Hugh Bowman, the winning.
And that pace didn't suit him, so he's done really well. And pushed it off the track a bit too, so nice run by Kingdoms.
Was indeed Usanity by Zed. This is a stallion by Zabil from the family of Danewell for the BMW Sydney Autumn Carnival. The MJ Bale Emancipation Stakes for the fillies and mares is the next race on the program. And last year's winner, Sky Rush, she is the favourite here on course. She's been in fantastic form this preparation.
And in the main, a good dispatch. Going back to the tail after the start, Shannara Cathay Lady jumped out fast and took up the running and led from Cannery Row. Say No More is rushing up on the outside. And then Sky Rush, Floria out wide with the nose roll going forward into a prominent spot. And then Raspberries followed by Plucky Bell on the inside. Scorpio on the rail last of all. Cathay Lady leads as they run to the 650 by a length on Say No More. Third spot is held by Cannery Row. Floria still going a little bit keenly, followed on the outside by Raspberries. Sky Rush is in between horses coming to the bend. And then Plucky Bell followed by Scorpio Queen. Xanadu still about 6 lengths off the lead from Shamadani, and Shannara on the inside. The leader, Cathay Lady, but Say No More straight up at the rise and is almost on terms now, followed by Floria. Sky Rush is bailed up for a run behind them. Looks to be going okay, but nowhere to go as they draw down with about 150 to go. Cathay Lady, Say No More. Floria, Sky Rush is now bursting through. She got the split at the 100, Sky Rush, and she takes the lead. She'll win it back to back. Sky Rush goes on to win it. Floria will get second, I'd say, from either Cathay Lady or Plucky Bell. And then came Xanadu, followed by Cannery Row.
Oh, she's a Bonnie mare, isn't she? Sky Rush 2 in a row. The Emancipation Stakes winning last year and again this year. She waited for that split to come. It wins that she's had this preparation after winning the Liverpool City Cup and also the Doncaster Prelude in the last few.
She just amazed me, this preparation. You know, she's now won a Liverpool City Cup, Emancipation, and the Doncaster Prelude in 4 runs. So she's rising 8 and racing easily in the best form of her career.
Yeah, she makes it back-to-back wins in that race, Sky Rush, the Emancipation. She is one of the most genuine mares around. Watch out, Brisbane.
How does he do it, Guy
Unbelievable.
Walter? How does he get a mare rising 8 to be in the best form of her career? You know, when you see a mare's race or even a filly's race, the name G. Walter, I know he's probably sitting back there thinking, I wish he'd scored with these mares. And it's just, I think this one is credit to the trainer.
Look, she's no star.
Here this afternoon, the 4 Group 1s. This is the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. The Derby winner, It's a Done Deal against some of the older horses. He looks an absolute treat in the yard. You wait till you see him number 9. He's just gone past us with his dapples absolutely gleaming from the stable of Murray Baker. He's around $1.28 on course after that dominant win in the Derby. And of course, he's dropping back 400 metres here. It's a Done Deal, $1.40 now into $1.28. The next best one for the Santos Coppery.
I loved this horse's run the other day. It was a crackerjack, his first run in Australia. Beating a length and a half behind Piero, King Mufasa, Shootout and the like, and Dan Lee. Whether he's just going to, the other one's just getting more, he's fitter and got more race savvy at this preparation. But this bloke's a serious racehorse, and if there's a
deal out in the gleaming, the fantastic, brilliant sunshine in the theatre of the horse. The colt by High Chaparral out of a Zabeel mare, his grandmother's steering one, a New Zealand Oaks. Murray Baker has done a wonderful job with him. Have a look at his coat here.
Racing and Glass Harmonium jumped well from the inside stall today, came out well and took up the running early on and led from Reliable Man, the other grey. And then Managar, who's out wide, so the greys will settle down 1, 2, 3 early, followed by Secret Admirer starting to jag back from Happy Trails. Zarella goes up on the inside from Silent Achiever, and It's a Done Deal allowed balance up at the tail of the field early on. Heading towards the back straight, and the leader is Glass Harmonium, led out by about 3/4 of a length on Managar, crossing from the outside alley to get one off the rail. Reliable Man is third. Then Zarella followed by Happy Trails. Down the side, 900 to go. At Glass Harmonium led by a length and a half. Managar staying close at hand to the leader, followed by Zarella. And then Reliable Man in 4th spot, 2 lengths to Silent Achiever. A neck away, Happy Trails on the outside. It's a Done Deal starting to edge up. And Secret Admirer back last of all. They're coming to the 600. And this favourite being stalled along now by Ryder. He's still about 6 or 7 off the lead. It's a Done Deal. The leader, Glass Harmonium. Late from Managar and neck away, then Zarella. Reliable Man is inching up on the outside, 3 wide. It's a Done Deal. Got up to midfield now. He's pulled the stick on him. He's still got a bit of work to do, though, as Reliable Man shot to the front over the rise, led by a couple on Managar and Glass Harmonium. It's a Done Deal. Is labouring a little here, and Reliable Man is well clear with 100 to go. The former English galloper is going to cause a big boil over here with Reliable Man. Is going to lower the colours of It's a Done Deal and wins it by 2.5. It's a Done Deal second. Happy Trails got third, and then Secret Admirer followed by Silent Achiever, then Zarella, Managar, and last in was Glass Harmonium.
He's a very good horse, number 2, Reliable Man. He's upset the short prize favourite. Hugh Bowman, the winning rider for Chris Waller, and this grey with the white mane and tail just too strong for the hot pot. It's a Done Deal coming back from the Derby distance. Huey Bowman having a look at the big screen as he heads to the winner's line. She's apples for Huey Bowman.
Available, Huey Bowman. They said, oh, Michael Wright. Huey said, I'm not chasing the...
I know it's been a trying time for your family, your staff and everyone, but this is what you do best. You come out and train horses, and what an exciting prospect this is.
Yeah, it sure is. Just the last 24 hours obviously have been tough, but haven't looked forward to a day's racing so much as today, just to have all that relief behind me. And knowing we're innocent also makes it that better feeling. We're not hiding anything. And it's just good to be able to race good horses. And A grade, this horse is a serious horse.
He proved that as a young horse when he was in France and Europe. What's the story behind him coming to you? And you saw those shots there of him coming back to scale with Huey unsaddling him, Rich and Caroline. So
Chat with some of the connections there. Andrew Ramson, of course, and some of the others. Just most.
Guess what happened on pulling up there?
Well, I could see as soon as I stopped riding the mount that he was short. So obviously we pulled him up quickly, and when I got into a trot, he was clearly lame. So thought I'd do the right thing by him and hop off him. But
you know, it's a shame because he's obviously a quality animal and he showed what he's capable of here this afternoon. And with the benefit of hindsight, I feel probably about 50 out or inside the 50 is probably where it happened. But we'll let the professionals have a look at him.
What do you think might have happened to him?
Might be. We'll just see what the vets have to say.
Let's hope it's not, because what we saw today was something pretty special.
Well, he came to Australia as the highest rating horse to come from Europe, so the writing was on the wall, and it's just a terrible shame that it's ended the way it has. But hopefully, there's a bright report at the end of it.
Thanks, you.
Neil second. Happy trail.
Well, bittersweet. Although better news this morning about Reliable Man. First time a French Derby winner's beaten an Australian Derby winner, and there was a New Zealand Derby winner in the same race. That's pretty rare. The changing face of the modern world, but outstanding yesterday. Reliable Man. Of course, we all know the postscript, and this morning's news, Brent, is a lot brighter about a horse with fear to have a major tendon issue.
Yeah, certainly did. It didn't look that good yesterday afternoon, but Reliable Man does have a little issue with his tendon, but not as bad as first thought. A bit of like tendonitis. And he's got a psoriasis. I'll get it out there eventually.
But yesterday in the run too, which may have been part of the reason he folded.
Yes, and Chris Wallace said that he'll just assess him now.
You're going to make a decision about Hugh and Michael Ride. And even before that, Hughie said, "No, tell him I'm going to stay with Reliable Man." He said, "I think he's a star and he'll win the Cox Plate." Well, wow, yesterday he was mile and a half back to 2000 might have been the story for It's a Done Deal, but the 600, I didn't think it was going to run the first four.
Well, he was a different horse, wasn't he? Because all those wins, he's been jogging at the 600 and just coming to the race himself. And yesterday, I looked back there and he was struggling to keep up.
Is that the difference of weight for age racing compared to the 3-year-olds?
I'm not sure. He beat Sacred Falls by 7 lengths. He's won a Doncaster, so maybe it's just too hard to come back like that. Even though we spoke about it, Bruce, he had an easy Derby win, but it's still too hard to
We'll
come
hear
back.
from Michael Rodri.
Was only his second start in Australia. He's a former French galloper. He won the French Derby 2 years ago. Hugh, great win by Reliable Man. What happened pulling up?
He was just a bit short in his action, and I didn't notice it until I started to ease him down. And
That's good news, Hugh, that he's only got something lower down in the leg, which is usually a little less serious.
well, hopefully we do see him again in the spring, because this is a serious horse, and he's obviously world class, and I'd rate him one of the best horses I've ridden, to be honest.
Well, he looks the best horse in Australia with all these retirements we've got happening at the moment. He blew a good field away there. He's only second up. I don't think Chris Wallace pressed the button on him, and I think it'd be fantastic news if we can get that horse back in the spring, because I think we've all had him.
What about the favourite, Ron?
Look, I don't know where the favourite sits. He's a fantastic 3-year-old. He was against the big boys yesterday. Maybe he's come to the end of it. Maybe
It looked like he'd lightened off a little bit in the yard.
Look, he should never have been $1.28. Put it that way. He should never have been $1.20. I'm not potting him. Let's just see how he comes back in the spring. But let's hope he doesn't. The connections won't want to meet that horse again at his top, Reliable Man, because he looks too good for him.
All right, well done to Hugh Bowman.
It's shining, and we have another Group 1 coming up. This is the Moet and Shandon 150th anniversary Champagne Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Guelph is the favourite, the Size Produce Stakes winner. But gee, some of these colts look good in the yard here. Just some news on Reliable Man from the
Guelph here.
Yeah, she is absolutely beautiful, isn't she? By Exceed.
Champagne Stakes. Criteria to miss the start slightly. Drago came out last of all. The best out was Scandiva. She led from Shahad and Fast and Rocking, utilising the inside, is going to be right up on the speed early on. Then came on the outside for Werza, starting to burn across, and so too is Equator. He's up near the lead in the early part, followed by Havana, Star Wars and Rio Cheto. Then Champollion, Guelph a long way back, followed by Wars. Guelph a long way back, so is Charlie Boy, Drago, and Criterion last of all. For Werza, bird away with 600 to go. He's put the foot down here and raced away and led by about 4 lengths. Equator's doing the chasing from Shahad and Scandiva. Then Champollion, followed by Havana. Fast and Rocking back along the inside. And then Rio Cheto, followed by Charlie Boy. Guelph spotting the leader, a big start. Criterion coming to the outside as they round the home turn. And then back on the inside, Star Wars, but for Werza's got a big lead up the rise. It's 4 lengths in front. Equator's coming after it, followed then behind them by Scandiva. And then came Fast and Rocking. Further back behind them, Charlie Boy, Drago the inside.
in front, but he's very tired. Equator's trying to get to it on the outside. It's for Werzer. Equator. Here comes Guelph. She's jumping out of the ground on the outside. They come down to the line for Werzer and Guelph. Hit the line locked together. Guelph dived on the outside. It's either Guelph or for Werzer. And then we've got Drago and Equator fighting out third. Followed in behind them by Farhad.
Win, lose or draw, she's a sensational filly, Guelph. She was absolutely pocketed there. Karen Macquarie managed to hang on. It looked maybe as if she has got there, but he's got his head down on the line. Oh, that's very close, Richie.
Oh, very good. First, third, for Guelph on the outside. Equator will run third. Oh, I thought maybe the outside, but this is very close. And the run of the race, outside of anything else, is clearly Drago. Run for.
There is the photo finish. There we go, by a nose. 11, 4, 8, and 9 are the numbers. Guelph, what a super little filly she is. Exceed and Excel from the sires winner Camarilla, the family of Seaport, and being able to get home in the end. $2.50, $1.30 for us.
Get the line locked together. Guelph dived on
Well, Guelph takes the size Champagne in the last possible stride. Absolutely brilliant ride by Jimmy Cassidy on Coerza. A millimetre off being the hero.
Forever run, Mark. Top of the ride, I thought Gazels had beat her in a race. I thought was outstanding. I thought Criterion was very good out wide.
This is a great training performance. Look, she went to the Blue Diamond as a big fancy, failed there, and he's got to come back and win a size and a Champagne. It's a funny story. Some of the boys go to the barrier trials. They backed Overreach and Guelph to win the Blue Diamond. They're not on them in the slip of the size on a Champagne.
I can put my hand up and say, oh, one of those who back Overreach and the Blue Diamond.
Anyway, she's done I thought she came from an impossible position there yesterday.
When you back a winner, that's not a fun
Performance.
Wow, she lifted off the canvas there. She was gone. She was absolutely gone. And look, she's had a great season, and you could lay claims that she's the 2-year-old of the year. She's just behind them in the slipper, and wins the next two. Look, that's the 6 majors, all to the fillies, and Richard will try and tell me, well, that means it's not a strong year when the fillies win all the 2-year-old races. And look, I'm not arguing that point. This was nearly the ride of the year by Cassidy on Fuerza. He knew he was probably on a horse that he had to try something different on to get a result, and he went steady the first half of the race, and then he went for home, and he nearly got a big dividend doing that, beaten right on the line. This third horse is a horse to follow next preparation, Equator. I quite like him. He's got a nice future, but Exceed and Excel, he wins the Triple Crown with his progeny, and he's also deserves a special mention. But look, good, strong type of filly.
Jimmy Cassidy rode another great race on Fuerza. I have to say, Jimmy does this.
Yeah.
He just rates horses in front. You're thinking, these good look, a mighty filly, and she is a mighty filly to run him down. And look, Darley, they'd had it.
Part-time of the Schweppes Sydney Cup for 2013 under the BMW Sydney Autumn Carnival. Kalini is the favourite, as you would expect, coming through that very good win in the JRA Plate. We know the 2 miles shouldn't have a problem after a 4th placing in the Melbourne Cup, 4th in the BMW. In fact, he's now $2.80 into $2.60 and a clear-cut favourite.
Bellini, 280 into 260. It's your market move for the Schweppes Sydney Cup. It's the one the big players have really latched onto. Kalini, he won the Lexus. 3 days later, ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup last year. Last Saturday, he won the JRA Plate in this.
Then they're off and racing, and Malucky Day, well, he began a little bit better today, probably dwelt from the inside, but he's not going to get as far back, and Julianus and Aliana Tilda began well. So Aliana Tilda left in front from Julianus and Norski just after the start, and then Moraine followed by Macedonian. Kalini was next. He's trapped a little bit deep in the early part, 3 wide without cover, and then came Malucky Day, Blood Brother. Nywad went back to second last, take up the running and lead. Nywad on the outside, 1,000 to go, almost back to where they started, and Julianus is the leader, led by a length on Macedonian and Norski. Kalini the favourite, about 2.5 to 3 off the lead. Back on the inside, Aliana Tilda, followed by Moraine. Now he's right on the back of Kalini. Further back, Malucky Day. He's starting to be encouraged along there by Dunn, followed on the outside by Blood Brother, and then Nywad who's starting a run, and Calicio back last of all. It's Julianus in front. They've got about 600 to go, led from Macedonian. Then Norski, followed by Kalini. He's hard at work on it at the moment. And then back on the inside is Aliana Tilda, followed by Moraine and Blood Brother. And Malucky Day's a long way back and underwriting as they turn for home. Julianus led up the rise. Norski and Macedonian next from Aliana Tilda. Kalini's down the outside with Moraine. They're starting to drop on the leaders, and then Blood Brother. And further back, Malucky Day. Aliana Tilda and Norski with Moraine out in the centre of the track. It's Aliana Tilda, Norski and Moraine. Moraine Moran may have taken a slight lead. He has. And Moran will win the Schweppes Sydney Cup. Moran beat Norsky and Aliana Tilda. Then Macedonian from Blood Brother. Further back, Kalini and Malucky Day. And then further back, Calisio. Naiwat finished second last. And Julian has finished at the back of the field.
Number 1, Moran for Team Williams. Hugh Bowman, Robert Hickmott has taken out the teeth course, the trainer. Huey Bowman as well, after taking out the Queen Elizabeth earlier on. He's beat about this. Rob Hickmott, of course, the trainer.
Green Moon takes the Melbourne Cup, and Moran, who finished 7th behind the stablemate at Flemington, wins the Sydney Cup to give Team Williams 2. Of course, they won the race with Gallagher.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, Kaluni was flat. He looked very hard to beat after running 4th in the Melbourne Cup last year. He was great last week, 60 on a heavy...
58 kilos and ran the 2 miles right out. He was ridden to victory by Hugh Bowman, who's had a great carnival.
Thanks for...
You're the only jockey that's won on this horse since he's come to Australia, Moran. What's the key to getting the best out of him?
Well, I might have been on him in the right races, I guess. But he races particularly well here at Randwick. And
I think he's fine. Like you had all this time.
Look, Norsky and Aliana Till did a great job. Kalini, the favourite, look, he looked the winner on form. Look, maybe he didn't back up. Maybe he over-raced and didn't settle as well as we expected he would, but he just had a...
Cup. He's going to take home the Sydney Cup. He's going to take home the All-Age Trophy. And this is a fantastic race. We get to see More Joyous, All Too Hard, Epaulette, who chased on All Too Hard's half-sister in Black Caviar last time out. On course here, we have, as the market shows, All Too Hard, $3.50. More Joyous, $2.50, and favourite. Number 1 here is Rangi Rang.
Terrific. She's back on top of the ground. She's electric when she's on top of the ground. She's the one to beat.
Too Hard by Casino Prince. We may not see Black Caviar on a racetrack again, but this fella, he has her presence. The half-brother out of Helsing to Black Caviar for the Hawks team and Dwayne Dunn. A trial winner at Randwick. He just did what he had to do. He won the Ore and the Futurity in Melbourne in February.
Oh, he's a good horse. There's no doubting that. He's got condition to come. He's a big, strong, and he's got strong...
And they're off now. Rangi Rangdu was the best out. Rain Affair showed great speed. And More Joyous is kicking up from the inside stall to be up there. And All Too Hard came out fast. He's up running 4th in the early part. Now 3rd, in fact. So on settling down, Rain Affair held back to them, led narrowly from Rangi Rangdu. More Joyous is next and All Too Hard on the outside. Epaulet is tracking that pair, followed by Rolling Tin. Smoking Joey is second last, and Fair Eddie can't go with the Mooley and settles at the rear. Now Rain Affair kicks up to go a little bit further ahead. And led by a length and a quarter, Rangi Rangdu, but it's not a savage pace up front. More Joyous is 3rd, All Too Hard on the outside in 4th spot. Dunn trying to kick up to keep More Joyous in there. And then came Rolling Pin. Epaulet was next, followed by Smokin' Joey and Fair Eddie last. They've come to the 600, and Rain Affair is the leader, led by a length and a quarter, Rangi Rangdu. More Joyous trying to get off the inside. He's managed to do that now. All Too Hard's about a length and a half behind him. And then came Epaulet as they turn for home, where the leader is Rain Affair, led from Rangi Rangdu. More Joyous called on. All Too Hard. Epaulet starting to run on down the outside. Rain Affair still in front, led from Rangi Rangdu. More Joyous, All Too Hard, and Epaulet trying to run down this leader. And then Rolling Tin over the concluding stages. All Too Hard is thundering up the centre, is challenging Rain Affair. All Too Hard and Rain Affair in the 3-year-old. All Too Hard beat Rain Affair. Ferretti flashed home to get 3rd. Then Rolling Tin, who unfortunately broke down on the line, followed by Rangi Rangdu, Epaulet, and then in behind them next we had More Joyous, and last in was Smokin' Joey.
All Too Hard, well, he is the half-brother to Black Caviar, but he is a superstar in his own right. That's 3 Group 1s in a row. For All Too Hard, of course, for Vinery, the team Vinery now, and Richie Callender is down there near the winning line.
I was in so much trouble, and I thought, Singo's done me again, the bugger. He's done me again. But unfortunately, he's happy about it. Look how happy he is. Come on, old sad sack. Mate, I was with this win. You can't always have it your own way. Sometimes you gotta come second, right?
We come last, buddy. I told Gay.
What happened?
I told Gay before the race we'd come last. Tommy Waterhouse told all his mates last night we'd come last.
Oh, mate, this is a very sad one.
I'm happy.
I've never seen him sad.
I'm happy for you, Jim.
Like,
But Jerry, he's not even a billionaire like you.
like he was going that, would have been in trouble, but he really knuckled down and really got home the last little 100 metres.
Yes, so did Peter Norton, who'll be very happy there. From Vinery Stud, he's with Bruce.
Well, there's multi-million-dollar deals flying all around the country right now, but you got in early with All Too Hard, Pete, with Vinery, and starting to really to work for you.
You know, obviously getting that temperature hurt, but to do what he's done today and pull out all stops, you know, it takes a gutsy horse, and he's just an absolute athlete. He's a racehorse, and mate, he's got a big heart.
You can see that when he challenged, would that be to the team to prepare?
That's just a genius. You know, he's good with the colts, and he knows what to do, and hopefully we'll get a few more.
On you, Michael. Well done.
Thanks, Bruce.
And team today, from the training point of view, any pressure on the jockey?
Plenty. No, just sort of being able to get my head around, you know, big occasions. We do the hard work, and you know, there's a lot of pressure going into these races. And
Positive first 100 metres, yeah. Went out with a game plan.
Yeah, I just wanted to get into a spot, and it's exactly where I found it. And so the thing is with him, he hasn't been at his best here in Sydney, and I was a little bit mindful getting into the home bend. I know what sort of acceleration he's got, but just Nash pushed me out the road, but I can keep balance. And then when I asked him for a top effort, he really dug deep. And today he had to really try hard to run down Craig. So great effort for him, and hopefully we might get one more run out of him.
I'm sure you're looking forward to Dwayne. Well done.
Thanks, Bruce.
The other breaking story here is that John Singleton is threatening to take all horses off Gay Waterhouse as soon as tomorrow. That's after More Joyous got beaten here this afternoon. We'll have more on that throughout the afternoon, but that's the big wash up to the story. Singo to take all horses off. Her son, Tommy Waterhouse, has said the horse can't win and it's got problems that I don't know about. Neither my racing manager nor vet find about till this morning, and it's smothered and covered. I can't live like that. He's joined us on the program this morning to explain his side of the story. Tom, good morning to you.
Morning.
And all the teams here. Brett race by Singo. And this morning the press has come out and suggested, the Fairfax media, that Andrew Johns was the person in relation to these comments from Singo. Were you in a position on Friday night to speak with Andrew Johns at all?
I never saw Andrew Johns on Friday night. The only thing I may have said to anyone is that, and I said the same thing on TV, I thought the value in the race was Epaulet, but I've never said to anyone or thought that More Joyous was injured. And look, it's just really upsetting. Not only personally, I can sort of whatever you live with it. You're a bookie, you want to take on favourites, but I feel upset for Mum because there's no one that works harder or puts more into the horses or wants to give more to make it that proud. And to think she would not start a horse if she didn't think it was fit. John Singleton's vets checked the horse and passed it fit. It's just very upsetting. But
let's try and set this race as we have a look at this, and you can tell here, Rich, I mean, you're amongst it all. This was not a good look on Singo's face.
Well, I interviewed Singo and Jerry Harvey, and look, the reason Jerry was at the races is because we asked him here at TVN to come for a little bit of theatre with Singo, but Singo got to the races with a bee in his bonnet, so he'd obviously the reason he had the bee in the bonnet, and that's where him and Tom are at dispute. Singo's saying that he was told by close friends that he believes and trusts 100%. Tom had passed on information that More Joyous wasn't right and can't win, and that's where the drama started.
Well, Rich and Tom immediately have a started. Well, Rich and Tom immediately have a listen to this. This is what Singo said before the race to Richie Keller on TVN.
Absolutely no confidence because the trainer's son has been speaking to all his mates. Very good mates of mine has got no chance, has got problems. And I don't know what the problems are, and I don't know what the no chance is, but I've sort of gone off it a little bit. But anyway, there's no conflict of interest.
So that was before the race. Tom, did you have any discussion at all with your mother, son relationships? But
I don't think I've spoken to her all week. I spoke to her yesterday after the races. For me, I actually backed More Joyous. So I thought the value, before I saw the form, I thought Epaulet, because of its run in the TJ Smith behind Black Caviar, was the value. And as a bookie, you always search for favourites. I tried Veritza Gun Deal, Snitzel.
But did you back anything else in the race? You say you backed More Joyous?
I backed More Joyous, and I backed Epaulet, and I backed Rain Affair.
Okay, let's go to the race. And All Too Hard, $2.80 favourite, confirms a trip to the UK to Royal Ascot after winning impressively in a great ride by Dwayne Dunn. Rain Affair stiff again, running into Atlantic Jewel last year. Superstar, All Too Hard this year. Superstar, Fioronte, eye-catching run into third. Go back to Richie.
Neither my racing manager nor vet find about till this morning, and it's smothered and covered. I can't live like that. It's not fair because people back my horses and they think they get every chance. Maybe Gay thinks they get every chance, but there's too much conflict of interest, and I've loved my time with Gai, but it's over.
All good things come to an end, they say.
And being treated like a lackey by Gai and her staff, which she doesn't have any staff, and I've had enough of it. I've got great staff myself. There are many good trainers, and I'll find one.
When did it come?
How would you respond to those comments by Singo?
Look, as a booker, you can't like More Joyous every time it runs. Yeah, by the day, I actually like More Joyous. I back More Joyous, but to say that it has the best chance every time, I'm just saying what my opinion of the race. On Thursday, before I looked at any form, I thought Epaulet was the value in the race, and I thought All Too Hard and More Joyous were going to be under the odds. Come Saturday, well, it's got nothing to do whether, I don't know, the horse isn't right. For me, I'm just looking off the form and the way that the race is panning out.
Why do you think More Joyous blew so much in the market, Tom? You bet on a lot of races. You
blew to like $3 something or
$3.50. You could have got $3.80 anywhere in Sydney.
Not on course.
In Sydney, there's a lot of $3.80 bet.
Well, on the APM one,
the official fluctuations, but there was a lot of $3.80.
Yeah.
But why do you think there was such a set against?
Because All Too Hard was backed off the map. I didn't like All Too Hard. If you look at my book, I laid All Too Hard to the cows come home.
So we got a vision of you. You tweeted yesterday, Tom, your ledger basically, just to obviously to try and clarify things that were going on. We've got a picture of that, and you can explain. I mean, people out there might understand what this means. So you try and put into terms what this is, because you're a bookmaker, but you're out there betting as well.
So Rain Affair is my best, by far and away the best result. I backed Rain Affair.
Yep.
More Joyous takes out there. I say it's not that good. 4,500.
Yep.
All Too Hard takes out 300 and something thousand, and Epaulet takes out 60,000 or something like that. So More Joyous is a 300 and something $1,000 better result than All Too Hard.
For the layman at home, how do you lay off? Do you have runners at the races
Yes,
betting?
I have people at the races or bet back with other bookies. I want the book to look the way that I want it to look come jump time. I thought All Too Hard by its jumps way too short. I thought More Joyous is way over the odds. I thought Rain Affair was significantly over the odds.
They didn't admit that there was something wrong with More Joyous during the week. We didn't know prior race.
Had heat in the neck, which is usually a good indication that had been.
But Tom, you knew nothing of that.
I knew nothing of that. I knew nothing of that, and I've never said to anyone anything about the horse has had any treatment or anything wrong with it at all.
All I reckon, Dad, he had a run-in with Singo later that afternoon, apparently.
Well, I think he was in there at the time, and this was post the inquiry, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and it happened outside the stewards' room in the sort of the bowels of the grandstand at Royal Randwick, and it will be called into the inquiry on Friday also. But it's obviously
on title up, so you can categorically know you spoke to Andrew Johns about the horse.
I may have spoken to Andrew Johns and the rest of Channel 9 and all these people about my thoughts on the race, but I've never said to anyone that the horse has got any setback, any injury, and that I don't like it because of that reason.
All right. And Friday, the pressure, and he's under plenty of pressure with this horse, but the way this horse lifted, it was an interesting race overall, wasn't it? Apart from the More Joyous situation, but they've all run well, bar More Joyous.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, coming to the top of the rise, I thought Epaulet and Rain Affair were going to fight it out. I really thought All Too Hard was under pressure, but he's a star in his own right. He was super duper late. They didn't run great sectionals late, but he got the job done. Rain Affair, geez, he's an unlucky horse. He was super yesterday, rated great, and 1,400 metres. If it was a wet track, it might have been a different tail. Fiorente, Mark, 2 runs in Australia. Second in a Melbourne Cup and now third in an all-age.
Yeah, it was an eye-catching run, wasn't it? I thought the winner might have been in a bit of trouble.
What'd you make of his appearance? It's got a 48 or 48 or 72-hour holding period. What was Gay's evidence in relation? Why didn't she tell the stewards about that hit in the neck?
She said that she didn't think it was an issue that needed to be brought up with the stewards, and that's caused a lot of frustration with Ray Murray.
6-4 favourite in a Group 1 race. Surely any information vital to punters. The integrity of this sport is the main thing.
Which is why stewards with Mark.
There were some great performances on the track, but I have to say this. I've seen bigger blow-ups on a racetrack. I've seen much bigger blow-ups, but I've never seen one on live television. Right? And that was the difference with this one. This one was there for everybody to see. And the last time I saw a blow-up like this, there wasn't Twitter around and all those other mediums where it just goes bunter in a second. So, yeah, look, racing's got to figure one thing out. Racing, like all other sports, thrive on controversy. And this controversy will blow over in the end. But, you know, it's on the racing is on the front and back pages. And
are now all at Strawberry Hills Farm, the property of John Singleton. They all left. I think More Joyous may have left last night, straight after her run, but all of them are now at Strawberry Hills Farm. These were the comments that sparked all of this yesterday after More Joyous failed in the all-aged.
When Gay's son knows last night exactly the result today, the conflict of interest becomes a bit personal. And when Jerry's the beneficiary, it becomes far too personal.
Does Gay know about this?
I told her before the race if it didn't win, it was leaving.
You've had your battles with her over the years. Is this one that really has affected you pretty deeply?
Oh, it has, because I was going to have 100 grand on her, and then I found when her own son, who's a bookmaker, saying she's got problems I didn't know about. Well, you have to ask the racing official, you have to ask Gay, you have to ask Tommy. All I'm saying as an owner, there's too much conflict of interest. All my horse the living goes tomorrow.
So that was yesterday on Channel 7 after the race, where, as we've told you, the 7 horses are now at Strawberry Hills Farm. We'll give you some more news on...
A bit more on this, Richard, is like the heat in a neck. What's heat in a neck? I don't hear that very often.
I wouldn't like to speculate without, having examined the horse, having intimate knowledge myself. But obviously, heat usually indicates some sort of infection or injury like that. If she had heat in the neck, I was surprised that she was given same results.
You're going to lunch tomorrow at Woolloomooloo to make the decision on what happens in his future. What do you think now?
Leave it to the owners.
The lunch sounds good. We'll deal with the dramatic aftermath of the race in just a moment, but let's give this horse due credit because he's a star all too hard. 4th Group 1 of the season. Probably hadn't seen his best in Sydney going back to the spring, but he has come back a much better horse this year.
Well, he's a mature horse, isn't he? He's turned from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old, and he's taken the giant leap, and which he always promised. And this was a sensational ride by Dunn. A bit of pressure on him. He showed aggression out of the barrier, and no one in their wildest dream thought he'd get the 1-1, and he did. And he knuckled down when it counted. Look, Rain Affair was beautifully rated in front by Williams, and he was gallant in defeat. Well, if Gay did have a smile on her face yesterday, it would be with the run of Fiorente. Boy, oh boy. This should be Melbourne Cup favourite for next year for sure. He ran second in it last year. He resumes with a bit of ping in his legs and comes from last here with 100 metres to go and really rattles into 3rd place here. Rangi Rangdu was good, and this is tragic for Rolling Pin. He's been a grand horse for his connections, and he breaks down badly past the post, and unfortunately they had to put him down. That's a really, really sad story out of that race.
It was a very important win that for All Too Hard. Piero had stolen the limelight during the autumn because of because of All Too Hard's illness, and All Too Hard, I think, almost snatched back the mantle because he defeated Piero in Melbourne a couple of times, or it finished in front of him at least. And I think he snatched the mantle back as the number 1 3-year-old yesterday. Very good training effort. As Wayne Hawkes said, it is very hard when a colt this time of year gets a setback. You've got to miss a race. You've got to miss a bit of track work. Then you've got to get him up again, have him fit enough to beat older horses in a testing 1,400-metre race, which it was with Rain Affair bowling along in front, and to grind it out and get to the line when you're not 100% fit. Look, all kudos goes to the Hawks team. Brilliant effort there. And look, stud prospect.
And look, More Joyous, she clearly was not herself. She was clearly not herself. She doesn't run that bad.
No, she doesn't run that badly. And I thought she'd win, but I had no idea that there'd been issues during the week, as a number of people didn't. All to win, but I had no idea that there'd been issues during the week, as a number of people didn't.
All Too Hard. Look, they'll meet on Thursday or Friday, but at this stage you would feel the horse will go to Ascot for the Queen Anne. They're going to meet today, all the new owners, celebrate their 3 Group 1 wins since they bought into the horse. The horse has come through extremely well. I know John Hawkes is still pushing hard to see this horse race on as a 4-year-old, but that won't be happening. Vinery have clearly decided that this horse will be retired after Royal Ascot. Fiorente, and we showed the grab after the race yesterday, but certainly looking at the vision before the race, in retrospect, we knew that things were blowing up as discussions were very heated between John Singleton, Gay Waterhouse, and Nash Rawiller was in a corner that he didn't want to be in.
I did feel sorry for Nash. Look at him there. He's looking at John. He's looking at Gay and thinking, what do I do here? They're having a full-on blue, and I've got to ride this thing. So he was classically between the rock and the hard place there, and poor old Nash is just doing his best. But there was a bit of colourful language. I've seen a bit of the raw vision because I was working with Channel 7 yesterday, and there's a bit of colourful language here and a few sort of not so veiled accusations at that time. And then later on, Gay almost walks past Singo and
Well, hello. Nudge too.
No, I think it was an accident, but look, it was pretty strident stuff.
And just to bring viewers up to date, that might
The big one is More Joyous. Who trains More Joyous? I think that might Kelso since earlier on this year.
The question is, does More Joyce, has she got anything left to prove on the track, firstly? And the next one is like, Racing New South Wales are there to protect the integrity of the sport, and the stewards are employed by Racing New South Wales. And I think maybe the punters should have known that More Joyous had a problem leading into this race, and they could make their own mind up whether they wanted to back this horse. And you see this happen all the time. It's a rule of racing. Trainers must report that if there's been an issue with a horse, and being such a high-profile horse, such a short price in a big race, one thing I'm bullish about is we should have known that.
Yes, there's one thing I'm sure about. The war of Gay Waterhouse and John Singleton is going to sell a lot of newspapers this week. It's going to be a long week.
Here you go.